In 2019, Max Verstappen's Red Bull became the first Honda-powered car to win at Interlagos since Ayrton Senna's McLaren back in 1991. You join us here today at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil. Drivers here will be tackling this 190-mile round trip with 71 laps of this iconic circuit. The circuit underwent renovations during the late 60s with the hope that modern facilities would entice the FIA to host a Formula 1 GP. After hosting a non-championship GP in '72, the attendance of over 100,000 people, the FIA agreed to host the championship GP the following year. The 1973 Brazilian GP was won by Emerson Fittipaldi on his home circuit.
Thank you very much, everybody, and congratulations then to congratulations and thank you very much then to Brooksy and to Lucas Percy. Unfortunately, it's not a good day. It's a bad day for ALR. Unfortunately, with the first time it's ever happened as well. It's there's not much words you can put into it, unfortunately. But a fantastic tribute then by Lucas Percy and by Brooksy for Dr. Truepox, who unfortunately has left us But yeah, he is in our memories, and of course he is. He's been a fan favourite in bronze last season, especially then with a full-time seat. And congratulations then to Brooksy and to Lucas Percy then for putting on a fantastic show here as well. Then opening up the race, the season finale, of course, for the 100% League, and very good show indeed. And of course, a fantastic tribute there. Of course, close friends to Dr. Truepox. Then this is why they have been out on circuit then putting on this tribute, of course. And well done. We are here in Brazil then for the season finale. Sorry, it's not going to be a very positive stream, I don't think, unfortunately. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, to the support as well. Of course, the support then for both Lucas Percy, for Brooksy, and of course, I think Sam B. Green then as well, who is in the comment section, I believe. And of course, hopefully, will be able to join us for the interviews at the end of the race as well. But yes, great stuff indeed then, and thank you very much for everybody who has put in their fantastic comments then in support then of Dr. Truepox, his friends and family as well then, who have of course been devastated by the news then that unfortunately he is not going to be around with us, unfortunately, for the future. Then he was a very young man. 19 years old, I've been told. So yeah, it's a very big shame indeed. And of course, the most important thing as well is that we come together then as a community. Then we are a community of Formula One fans, and of course we have lost one today, but hopefully, and I really hope that nobody else suffers this in the future as well. Then of course, if you are suffering with anything like this as well, we didn't know, nobody knew, unfortunately, what was happening behind the eyes, I suppose you could say, then, of Dr. Truepox then. And hopefully if anybody is suffering out there, then please just reach out to anybody in here, anybody in your friends and family circle. It is vitally important that you do so. And yeah, I really heartfelt then from Lucas Percy and from Brooksy, and of course thoughts and best wishes go out to Dr. Truepox's family and other friends as well, of course. But we can't really start off commentating on this stream, to be honest. I don't know where to go. But yeah, again, it's the first time. It's the first time it's happened in ALR, and I pray to God it's going to be the last time as well, to be honest, because like I said, it's terrible news. It's terrible news as well. And like I said, hopefully, if anybody is suffering, then please reach out to anybody you know. It doesn't matter who it is. Just one message, and it can help you turn things around. Yeah, it's you can never really tell, and that's what's exactly the same in this case as well. You can never really tell what is going on behind the scenes then, in thoughts then of people's minds. And unfortunately, like I said, it's that one message, it's that one reaching out that can help turn things around. And yeah, fingers crossed then for anybody who is out there who is just listening in. Like I said, Dr. Truepox, and he was an active full-time driver last season and a reserve driver this season, and of course he just raced his race. He did everything that he normally did on track. He left it on track as well, and of course nobody had any quarrels, I don't think, with Dr. Truepox, and he was a good racer and a good member of ALR as well. And of course he will be sorely missed. We'll remember him. Of course, if you haven't noticed already, the majority, I think hopefully everybody on the grid is running black helmets then in memory of Dr. Truepox as well. And I think thankfully the majority of people have got that sorted, which is nice to see. Then again, not just there, Lucas Percy and Brooksy then leading the tributes then, but of course the rest of the drivers then on the grid are leading the tributes as well here for ALR, and putting on hopefully a good show as well here tonight then for the final race of the season. Not a very not a very positive note to end the season on, of course. But of course we have to get the show on the road, I suppose, at the same time. But again, as I keep saying, I'd rather just have a bit of a lie down now and think about things. Fair play to the drivers then who have taken the track, and of course who are going to be fighting then for Dr. Trupox in his memory tonight around this famous Interlagos circuit as well. A bit of a damp qualifying, unfortunately, but of course, thank you very much for everybody who's getting their messages in then in support then of Dr. Trupox and his friends and family then, who are of course hopefully going to be tuning in as well. Then of course they've well, to be fair for Lucas Percy and for Brooksy, they will be on the track then putting in their own tribute, so to speak, as well. So fantastic stuff indeed for both of those two. Of course, Farf has jumped out of his seat then to make sure that Brooksy can get into the race as well tonight. But yeah, fantastic stuff indeed then, and really good stuff indeed from Brooksy, as we've had a few people commenting in the stream as well. Then really good stuff indeed then from Brooksy and from Lucas Percy then on their tribute then in the opening stages of the qualifying. Of course, really heartwarming stuff indeed as well. And I think we've only got 6.5 minutes left to qualify, and then we've got 71 laps of this, but I'm going to have to cheer myself up for the race. But there we go. We're watching Kiki now come into Sector 2. And of course, Kiki then is on the charge in the championship as well. Then Lucas Percy, of course, is looking for a win tonight, and he said in the comment section, and I think he said it in the Discord as well, they're looking for a win tonight then for Dr. Trupox as well. So that is hopefully I'm hoping for that, especially then on the cards for Lucas Percy and for Brooksy as well, then for a good race for sure. As I'm sure they'd be very. X Game was retired, I think, in the pit lane then. So yeah, unfortunately he was not taking part in qualifying. But yeah, there we are then. But good stuff indeed then for all the drivers, and of course who are sporting the black helmets here as well then in Brazil, then for in memory of Dr. Trupox, as we come across the line for Kiki and up into P2. Then Lucas Percy has set the precedent so far, an 8.6 for the AlphaTauri driver then, and looking strong out there then in the AlphaTauri as it stands. There's still a few minutes left of qualifying. X Gamer has joined back into the lobby, so hopefully he can get himself back in the car for the race start. Good stuff indeed. Thank you once again for all the comments coming in as well. It's just yeah, not a good day for ALR, unfortunately. Then for the loss of the only loss, as far as I'm aware, as well, of any ALR driver. Then 5 years going, and unfortunately it's happened. And so yeah, it's a big shame indeed. Even though not many people, like I said as well, not many people would have known him personally. But he was being out in the bronze last season, and then of course various events as well. Then it's been a pleasure, then, of course, to have them on and with we will be sorely missing then Dr. Trupox, who was unfortunately been battling then, has ended the battle then with depression, then, and unfortunately he will be sorely missed as well. But we are racing then here in his memory, of course, and currently Jenna then has taken away that pole position then in the Mercedes, and he's done an 8.6 as well into P1 then for the Mercedes driver then. Good stuff indeed. Right. To anyone across the planet then, moment of silence as well then from Kaz in Canada, of course then. So yes, of course it doesn't limit itself to well, a situation that has occurred, and it doesn't limit itself to anybody, does it? Across the world, it can affect anybody. And of course, if anybody, like I said, there's before in qualifying this, if any earlier on in qualifying, sorry, if anybody is suffering then from anything, any sort of mental health issues, then please just reach out. There's plenty of support then online, and there's plenty of support then in the server as well. Then just message an admin, message a friend, message a family member as well. Then anything like that can turn the cycle around. Then it's not easy, but it can get better for sure. And yeah, of course, thank you again to everybody who is putting their support then into the comments. And of course, I think hopefully Brooksy and Lucas Percy, and of course family and friends then of BoxBox then will see that as well. Then that of course will be meaning a lot then to them as well, hopefully. So to everybody who is just putting their thoughts and their feelings out there as well. 2 minutes left then of qualifying before we get ourselves into the Grand Prix itself. Then Sickers Muck then is starting off another lap then in P11, currently in the Aston Martin, and flying through sector 1 now. Let's see what he's going to do then in this first sector. I haven't got the telemetry up just yet because I've been a bit preoccupied, but there we go then, 3.5 tenths or so improvement already then in sector 1. Looking quite strong out there in the Aston Martin, good stuff indeed. And let's see what the rest of the field can do as well. Of course, there's still time for people to come back out of the pit lane, I think. So hopefully they can go for one more run here in qualifying as well to finish off the 18-minute session as well then. Sickers Muck now into the horseshoes then of sector 2, negotiating them very well indeed. As Vintage unfortunately has retired. I think that was in the pit lane then for Vintage, and so he is finished in qualifying here then into sector 3. 2.5 tenths or so is the improvement currently then for Sickers Muck. That will put him into the range of the top 10. That will put him into the range of Vintage and Brooksy as well. And of course Brooksy back out on a lap. Here comes Sickers Muck up into P9 then in the Aston Martin into the top 10, and he's gone into the wall as well. So yeah, okay, doing good stuff indeed. Well, there we are. Unfortunately, I don't think Vessia, X-Gamer and New Zealand Cam are going to be taking part in qualifying here, so they have retired then in the pit lane. And there is Lucas Percy. Then we will go on board with Lucas Percy. Then I think he's going to be starting off his final flying lap here in qualifying, then here in the Brazilian Grand Prix, or for the Brazilian Grand Prix, I should say, because we haven't started the race just yet. But we are going now into the final lap here. Well, let's see if Lucas Percy can get that pole position then. And of course that would be fantastic stuff indeed then for himself and for the event, I suppose you could say. And for what it means to Lucas Percy then, and to Brooksy as well then, as indeterminate. And when we go then into the S's section, then the centre S's of the first couple of corners then of the Interlagos circuit, then around now down towards the DRS straight, then in towards the Sena de Lago. And of course into sector 2, then he's unfortunately not improved then in his first sector. Let's see what he can do then in sector 2 and 3. There's still time to improve in this lap then for Lucas Percy as well then. Then is back in the pit lane, so he's called it a day then in qualifying then on his final run. Then let's see what Lucas Percy can do. Can he steal it back away then from the Mercedes driver? Then retiring in the pits then is Ginner, then currently on pole position then, but here comes Lucas Percy then through sector 2 into sector 3. Brooksy unfortunately has retired in the session as well then, so that is him done and dusted in qualifying as well. Then Lucas Percy purple in sector 2. This could be it then for Lucas Percy then. This would mean a lot then as he crosses the line. Let's see what Lucas Percy can do here in the final attempt here in qualifying up to the line. ERS depleted up to the line. It stays P2. Unfortunately for Lucas Percy then, unfortunately couldn't improve then on that final lap then. He is P2. He's on the front row of the grid then, is Lucas Percy. Great stuff indeed then from the AlphaTauri driver as well then. And, well, he's looking in a good spot then to do a fantastic race, or put on a fantastic race, I should say, in the next 71 laps, I suppose, which is quite a long way to do around this circuit. But of course, it's a very short lap indeed. Then Gino takes pole position. Then Lucas Percy P2, Kiki in P3, Equaz P4, Camaro P5, B Rabbit in P6, then Brooksy P7, R2B in P8, then Gordo in P9, and Kydell rounds off the top 10 in the Alpine. Sick as Muck P11, then Vintage P12, Moomin P13, Don of the Dons P14. Unfortunately, New Zealand Cam, Hungry Styles, Vessia, Coop, and Serious Mushroom next game. Didn't get time on the board then, so unfortunately they did not take part in qualifying here. But there we are then. The final race of the season is coming up then in just a few moments' time. And it's nice and sunny, it looks like, for the start of the race, that is, here in Interlagos. Then good stuff indeed. There we are. And yes, so looking forward to this one. It's going to be an exciting Grand Prix indeed. Then 71 laps then of this Brazilian Grand Prix coming up as we complete the season. Then 15 rounds then at the end of this one have been ticked off as the second 100% league, or the third series of the event league, then will be completed as well here tonight then. And so there's still some changes to be made then in the championship order potentially then. The likes of Kiki then, I think, trying to cement that P2 in the final standings. Equaz then battling for that P2 in P3 currently. And then we've got, of course, Serious Mushroom and Lucas Percy then, I think, on 105 and 103 points respectively, just outside the top three as it stands. So potentially they could swing their way into the top three then for the final race of the season. Sorry about that, trying to get the telemetry sorted. Then there we are then. This is the starting grid then for the Brazilian Grand Prix coming up then in just one formation lap's time. And we have got Gina then in P1, then he is on pole position then in Mercedes then on the medium compound tyres. Lucas Percy then in P2 in the AlphaTauri on the medium compound as well. Then he's in a bit of a Mercedes sandwich then with Kiki P3. Also on the medium compound tyres. To be fair, the majority of the grid are on the medium compound tyres. I will just name who is not on the medium compound tyres in a minute. Equaz then P4 in the Alfa Romeo, then Camaro in P5 in the Alpine. Good qualifying, sorry, for Camaro racer. Then B Rabbit then in P6 in the Alfa Romeo, then Brooksy P7 in Haas, then R2B his teammate, then P8 right behind, trying to be a rear gunner then, I think, for R2B then in the opening stages. Then Gordo, the champion of the 100% league this season, then was crowned 2 rounds ago in China. Then he's in P9 on the medium compound tyres, and Kydell rounds off the top 10 in the Alpine. Sick as Muck then P11, then Vintage in P12. Then we've got the first runner then who is not on the medium compound tyres, and it's moving on the hard compound tyres in P13. Don of the Dons P14 on mediums. Same for New Zealand Cam in P15. Hungry Styles and Vessia then, who of course did not get time in the qualifying session. Coop then on the hard compound tyres in P18 in the Williams car. Then Serious Mushroom on the soft compound tyres. The only driver then on the grid on the soft compound from P19, and Gamer then brings up the rear of the grid in P20 on the medium compound tyres for the Williams. Right then, we are ready to get started here in Brazil then. I'm going to try and amp myself up then for the start of this race. Fingers crossed it's going to be a good one then. Right, we are ready to get started. Just waiting for the last couple of drivers then to join up to their grid slots then, and we can get cracking here in Brazil for the final race then of the 100% League Season 2. And right then, ready to get started. Here we are. 5 red lights coming on here in Brazil, I think. 5 red lights are on in Brazil then, and when are we going then? 5 red lights are on in Brazil, and 5 red lights are on in Brazil, and oh god, it's not working, is it? Is there somebody who's glitched out in the background? Not quite sure what's going on here. If the lobby host just leaves, I think it'll be okay. We're being held on the grid for some reason. Not quite sure what's going on there. Stuff indeed. Okay, if somebody could tell Farf just to leave the lobby, we can get the race started. That would be fantastic. And just waiting then for that to happen, and we'll hopefully get ourselves underway. It's Don of the Dons apparently who is not loaded in, so that is causing that. Then if somebody can tell him to leave, then we've got the visor lights are on, and we've got Don of the Dons telling you. No, never mind then, we will get ourselves started here in Brazil now then. Off we go then for the Brazilian Grand Prix. A good start from Lucas Percy, then he's already alongside Ginner then as we go in towards turn 1. Let's see what he can do. Can he take the lead into turn 1? Yes he can, and he's already ahead in the Alpha Tauri. A great start indeed then. Don of the Dons then, I think we'll have to drop down the order then after that bit of a weird start. But Lucas Percy then is no slouch then on the start then, is he's up into P1 already then and flying down towards the turn 4 then down the inside goes Ginner trying to look into a move then back for the lead but can't quite make it stick just yet then into the S's we go then, and there's contact between the two of them as well then as we go into the uphill part as Don of the Dons has rejoined the session, but unfortunately he has dropped back down now. So there was contact I think there, but we've got some problems for Gordon the champion. Then Gordon's had an issue somewhere. Where is he? Oh my goodness me, then into the S's section of sector 2 then it seems like a few drivers then are not having a great time out there as into the back of Vintage goes Gordo again. And so Gordo's having a few troubles out there as the championship winner. Unfortunately for him, then Don of the Dons I think just rejoined the session I should say then, but he's not having a great time out there. We've had a few position changes already. Then down 11 places for R2B. He's had a problem somewhere on the opening lap as well. Then out in front then Lucas Percy leads away then from Ginner then in P2. Ginner looking to line up a move then for the lead of the Grand Prix here into turn 1 once again then back down the inside at turn 1 then Lucas Percy has to let the Mercedes go through then he can't turn in then the Mercedes was alongside as we go on to lap 2 here in this race. Oh my goodness me, then they're going to be side by side once again then down towards the Sena de Lago. Then there's almost rubbing wheels between the two of them as we go down the inside for Lucas Percy. Can he hold the move is the question. Yellow flags in the background already as Serious Mushroom is in the pit lane then. Unfortunately for Mushroom then he's not having a great start to the race then. He's into onto a new set of tyres then, up 9 places for Kamara, not Kamara Racer, sorry, he's down 2 places as Kamara Racer, up 9 places for New Zealand Can. The other Alpha Tauri driver then looking for a quick start then, and he's already gained quite a few places already then. Good stuff indeed then. Kaz has left and rejoined then, says Farf then, so that is sorted out the issue then. We have started the race, if you couldn't tell, but good stuff so far then. Lucas Percy leads the race and great stuff from him as well as we go on to into the final couple of corners then of lap 2 then. 69 laps remaining after this one, so there's quite a long way to go then in this one as well. So good stuff indeed then over the first couple of laps, and it seems like everyone has got themselves sorted and settled so far anyway. As we go down the inside once again then for Ginner then into turn 1 then. This is where he made the move on the last lap. It didn't work out for him through the S's section though, as now DRS is in the neighbourhood as well, and this is going to help Lucas Percy then trying to get himself back up into the race lead here on the Mercedes driver then as we go down towards turn 4 once again then. Ginner covering off the move then, he's got the position, he's kept the position then into turn 4, and Lucas Percy then slotting in behind, and Equaz has made a move then on Kiki then up into P3. Of course these two, Kiki and Equaz, then are fighting for the P2 position in the championship then, but I think Equaz mathematically needs to get at least P2 and hope that Kiki doesn't finish then to be able to get himself back ahead of the Mercedes driver then in the championship standings, that is. So there we are. As it stands, McLaren then, we were of course fighting for the Constructors title as well, not scoring any points as well. They're both of the McLarens having a difficult start out there, so they are struggling as it stands at this moment. Of course Alpha Tauri are in the fight then, so is Mercedes and so is Alfa Romeo. As we go over the hill then once again then these two are side by side, and F5 is going to get himself interested in this battle as well then. DRS then for Lucas Percy, DRS then for Equaz as well, and as we go over the start finish line then into P2 then goes Equaz and trying to make a move then into the oh my goodness me, I thought Jen was going to dive down the inside there, but he thought better of it, and he's lost out then to the Alfa Romeo driver then, who is up into P2 then. The Alpha Tauri, sorry, Lucas Percy then making the move for the race lead, then back up into the race lead then for the Alpha Tauri. Lucas Percy, you can see behind, here comes Ginner then on the attack then into turn 4, and there's contact between the Alpha Tauri then and the Mercedes then as we try to turn into turn 4 at the same time, I think, and Ginner then has lost out then, but he's he stayed in P2 I should say after all that as well then. Good stuff indeed then. Brooksy then in P8 then, he's lost out 1 place then, but he's still on the back of the train here as well. Kiki and New Zealand Can switching places then as up into P4 goes the AlphaTauri driver, then getting himself past the Mercedes driver as well then, and New Zealand Cam is on a charge here. Look at him go up 11 places already then in this opening 4 laps then, as we go through into sector 3 then for the 4th time as well then, down the hill and then back up the hill we go. DRS of course is going to be available then along the main straight this time as well then. Last lap, so there we go. But here we are. This is not the first time I am messing up a commentary session, don't you worry. But there we go then, New Zealand Cam, I think fighting, trying to get himself into the podium places already then after the opening 4 laps. He's done a great job then, getting a great start as well then. Gamer has got himself a good start as well, from P20 up into the point 10 position, then P10 for the Williams driver. Good stuff indeed out there. Going to be some good overtake, says Smithy as well, of course. Yes, I think everyone's going to be putting on a good show here tonight then. Of course, the final race of the season as well then. They're going to be flying through this race, hopefully unscathed, and putting on a good show here tonight then as well then, as Lucas Percy then rounds into sector 2 then once again then Ginner then in close proximity. Same for Ekblad. We've got yellow flags for Brooksy. I think Brooksy's had an issue somewhere. Oh dear, where's he gone? He's got it off the circuit at the top of the hill then somewhere. He's had an issue and I think lost the front wing then for Lucas, not for Lucas Percy, sorry, for Brooksy then, trying to get himself back on the circuit then. And unfortunately then for Brooksy then not having a great time out there with us losing the front wing as well then, as we've got an Alpine, I think, with Keulen, who's struggling out there as well and trying to catch up as well then. Unfortunately, a serious run. He has made a pit stop on at the end of lap 1 then, I think, for a wing change as well. Good stuff indeed then. Here comes New Zealand Cam, then he's still on the charge, and I think Ginner is a bit too far back to make a move for the race lead as we go into lap 6 now. Just trying to unsettle Lucas Percy, but he's a veteran then, is Lucas Percy of league racing. He's not going to fall for that then. Gamer has got himself past Tickers Muck then up into P8 then as well, with a good move on the Aston Martin driver then into turn 4 once again. Then New Zealand Cam still putting the pressure on. Brooks has got a 5-second penalty for swinging in pit lane, and Ginner's gone for a dive on Lucas Percy then into turn 4. That is not an opportune overtaking move. But New Zealand Cam is making an opportune overtaking move. Is he? Or is he? I'm not quite sure then, as Ekwaz is on the inside then. And oh my God, they're going to get squeezed there as well then into the next right-hander, I should say. Then Ekwaz has lost out then to the AlphaTauri of New Zealand Cam and dropping down into P4 then. New Zealand Cam up into the podium places there with a fantastic opening 5 laps here, or 5.5 laps now. And he is, I think, trying to get himself into contention then, as we've got yellow flags in the background for an Alpine of Keulen. I think then Keulen's having an issue out there, but he is soldiering on as well. Then good stuff indeed. There's contact between Ginner and New Zealand Cam this time as we go over the crest of the hill then. New Zealand Cam then is going to go fighting side by side then with the Mercedes as we go into the DRS then onto the main straight then onto lap 7 as well here. Good stuff indeed so far then. These top 8, top 9 battling away then very well indeed. There's been a bit of rub in this racing, but they've done a good job of keeping themselves on track at the same time as well then. So can't say too much bad stuff about that then. As we go on to the next straight as well then, DRS of course available then for everybody apart from Lucas Percy in this shot. As we go into turn 4 once again then, I think New Zealand Cam then trying to get himself past Ginner as quickly as possible then to hopefully fight for his teammate here as we go into sector 2 once again then. Gamer and Cam are doing very well then, says Formula 1, sorry. Yes, they are. They're up into, Gamer is up into P8 then after starting from the back of the grid. And New Zealand Cam then from P15 is up into the podium places. So it's not all bad out there then for those two. But of course, I think they're going to be trying to fight a bit further forward as they currently are. But looking good at this stage of the race so far for AlphaTauri and for Williams as well. Of course, not so much for Williams to fight for in the championship, but then AlphaTauri are in the charge then for the constructors title as well here. They are second currently, they're behind McLaren, and McLaren currently not scoring here as well then. So this could be very tasty indeed then. Speaking of tasty, I think Ginner is going to go for a move then into turn 1. Not quite then, he sits behind the AlphaTauri of Lucas Percy in a bit of a sandwich then, as New Zealand Cam almost lost the car going through there, but kept it under control. As we go on to lap 8 now as well, down towards turn 4. Here comes Ginner again on the attack then of Lucas Percy. Then he's going to make the move then down the inside. This time Lucas Percy, then we've got a brilliant view then from New Zealand Cam, and a great switchback then from Lucas Percy into turn 4. On the exit turn 4 then back ahead of the Mercedes as Gino went a bit too deep then into that Cena de Largo as well. Then unfortunately for the Mercedes driver, that is. But this battling then between the Mercedes and the AlphaTauris is going to resume then as here comes New Zealand Cam round the outside. Then there's contact between the two of them. There's more contact between the two of them, and then a New Zealand Cam has got the place ahead of Jenner as Brooksy has retired then in the pit lane. And unfortunately, these two are still going then as we go down the hill towards sector 3. And my goodness me, I'm not quite sure what was going on there. It seemed like they got tangled up then, didn't they? As we go over the hill then, Brooksy unfortunately out of the race, but fair play to Brooksy then for putting on a fantastic show then, especially in the beginning of qualifying as well then. As Ekwaz then lining up a move then on New Zealand Cam then for P3, as they're going to go side by side. Ekwaz has gone through into P4 then, and Gina now is going to have to defend then from the AlphaTauri as we go into the S's section. And there's more contact as Moomin is retired, and it's a safety car, I think. Yes, it is a safety car, and that is bad news indeed. I'm not quite sure what Moomin was up to then. But yeah, that will be looked at after the race then. But nonetheless, Lucas Percy escaped the clutches then of the Mercedes. Then Ekwaz got himself up into P2, and Gina then down to P3. New Zealand Cam was battling away then into turn 1 as well then. But he has lost out then, but he has dropped down to P4 for the time being. As safety car is out then for Moomin, then crashing into the wall. There's a Haas off for the circuit as well then somewhere. I think that might be Brooksy's AI car then just getting out of the way. But yeah, unfortunately, like I said, that is 2 drivers out there on the same lap then. Unfortunately, I don't think Moomin realised that Brooksy was also out. But there we go then, doesn't matter. We are on to lap 9 then. Safety car is out and waiting then for the drivers to catch up to the field. So we've got a Hungry Stars then is coming through onto the main straight now as well then. Good stuff indeed. Then he is staying out as well, which is very wise indeed, because you don't want to pit right now. You can just catch up with the safety car queue and then pit after that. Good stuff. Great stuff indeed then. So right, Don, I'm not quite sure what Kaz is up to. I think is that glitch that he got at the start of the race then is causing him issues out there as well then. So into the pits comes the race leader of Lucas Percy then. All of the drivers then coming into the pit lane, they look like here as well. Apart from maybe Kiki, who's staying out there in the Mercedes, then that could be a good call. It could be a absolutely horrific call. We'll have to wait and see at the end of the race, to be honest, because we don't know. Kamara Racer has stayed out as well, same for Coop, then Lucas Percy then on to, we haven't looked at what tyres everyone's on. Donald Dons is retired in the pit lane and he's left the session then, so I think any issues that were caused by Donald Dons then has been resolved with that. But there we are then, Lucas Percy's out on hard compound tyres, then R2B has gone through into P4. Where will the rest of the field filter out then? Here comes Kydell, then he's not pitted either, but he's going to come out behind Ekwaz here, and into turn 4 we go then, and Ekwaz is ahead then of the Alpine car. Good stuff indeed then from Ekwaz's point of view. Right then, filtering out the pit lane, we've got Hungry Styles and Mushroom then to catch up to the queue, and they are quite back at this stage as well, then having pitted as well, then, so they are going to be soldiers on there. So Hungry Styles was coming in the pit lane then, but he has not, so he has carried on then in this race as well. So unfortunately we lost Brooksy then in the pit lane, then we lost Moomin then with a crash somewhere in sector 3, and then we lost Donna the Dons then in the pit lane. I think he was causing a few issues out there. There's a Ferrari flying off in the background then. I'm not quite sure who that one is, but yeah, there we are then. I think that might be Kaz's car just getting himself out of the way then, and after that retirement then we were pit lane as well. So I think having a few technical difficulties there was Kaz, and he's got himself sorted and not getting in the way then of anybody who is of course trying to race their own race. Right then, we've got 4 drivers then who have stayed out then under the safety car, and that is Kiki then, currently race leader then, 10 laps now for the medium compound tyres of Kiki then. Kamara in P2 sorry, is on the same tyre of life as well then. Coop then on the hard compound tyres, 10 laps on him, as same for R2B on the medium compound tyres in P4. Then we've got fresh tyres for everybody apart from Kydell, who is a bit further back in the field than he was in the lead pack that stayed out. Then both the Alpines have chosen to stay out under this safety car. They might have a bit of a problem then with everybody on the fresh tyres behind them in the opening stages of the restart. Then we'll have to find out. Soft medium for gamer says Jake the Slayer, I think that is, in the comment section. So can he get to the end of the race on that strategy then? Donald Dons has come back in the session, but I don't think he's realised that his car is no longer in the session. So I think whatever happened there, we did see a few people retire in the qualifying as well. Then I think they left the session to sort out their helmets, and they didn't come back, or they couldn't come back then into the qualifying session. And I think the same thing has happened to the Ferrari driver as well then. But unfortunately, that is the case then for that then. I think we've got a. Should we have a helmet check? I think I don't want to go through it in case someone's got it wrong. No, I think everyone's done a good job then. It looks like of putting on the black helmet in tribute then to Dr. Jukebox, and of course who we are racing for tonight then. It is the final race of the season then, but of course it is more in memory now of Dr. Jukebox, and who is of course a member of the ALR community, the only member that we know of that unfortunately has passed away. And of course this race is effectively then in memory of him. Then it doesn't mean too much then for the drivers then, but they are putting on a show for Dr. Jukebox's friends and his family as well then out here, which is very nice to see. Then Kishi then leads us away then on the restart then onto lap 12, and he has got a good restart then ahead of tomorrow racer, and he's now under pressure from Coop. Then R2 Beaton has got a good restart as well, then trying to chase down the top three, and Lucas Percy of course is on the fresh hard compound tyres. Junior's got himself past Keulen then already. All their Keulen's off the circuit then in the S's section, and now New Zealand Can trying to swoop his way through then round the outside of turn 3, and he is up into P8 then out in front. Then R2 Beat's been passed by Lucas Percy already. Then Donovan Guns has left the session already. Unfortunately he can't get himself back in the car. His car has retired itself, which is very convenient indeed. Not so much from Codemasters, that is. Lucas Percy now on the hard compound tyres. Like I said, he's trying to get himself past the older tyres then for Coop, then Kamara and for Kiki. Of course the top three have not pitted. Then Lucas Percy did lead the race then and did choose to pit under the safety car. He's onto a set of hard compound tyres and now chasing down the podium places as well. Then here comes Lucas Percy then on the back of Coop as we go into sector 3 then to finish off lap 12 here. As into sector 3 we go, and then of course those fresher tyres are going to be much more helpful I think then for Lucas Percy than those who are on the older tyres, albeit they're not too old, but they are not at their best compared to the likes of Lucas Percy then and the likes of Expo of course on the medium compound tyres here, and the Alfa Romeo then there is Ginner in the background as well then on the hard compound. He has got himself past R2 Beat then, and there's a bit of argy-bargy going on then with Ginner as well once again. Into the centre S's then up into P6 then. Of course R2 Beat then is entitled to race for his position at this stage. He is on the lead lap still. Of course he's just on older tyres is the only difference. Then New Zealand Can then he's coming all over the back, coming up to the back I should say then of the oh my goodness me, of the Haas car then up into P7 then. And Lucas Percy got himself up into the podium places as well. Then Sickers Muck's had an issue somewhere. Sickers Muck and Kydell. Then there's all sorts of anarchy going on here with a Williams car of Gamer. Then on the soft compound tyres he's got himself through and up into P9 has Gamer. And into the S's we go then, Kydell and Sickers Muck. Then there's a dive then from a McLaren in the background as well. Then it's Vessia then getting a bit desperate then on the back of B Rabbit. Then of course B Rabbit on the fresher hard compound tyres as well then. As down the inside he goes then on Kydell. Oh my goodness me, and Vessia looks like he's lagging out there. There's an issue then with the McLarens as one of them is ghosted then. I think Vessia has lagged out of the session and he has got some sort of technical difficulty then for the second McLaren now on track. Oh my goodness me, Kydell almost losing the car as we go up the hill, and that has opened the door for both McLarens to squeeze through. Then out in front, Lucas Percy's got himself past and up into a P2, then past Kamara Racer then, and now chasing down the race leader. Then DRS has been re-enabled now after that safety car as well. Then on to lap 14 we go. Then DRS now going to be available then for Kamara. Then back down this straight then towards turn 4. Lucas Percy just 1.3 seconds away from the race lead. But he of course is trying to get himself back into that contention then of course with the likes of Equaz, Ginner and New Zealand Cam then trying to chase them down as well. And B Rabbit has got himself past Sick as much, has he? No he hasn't, not yet, then not quite yet as we go side by side then through turn 5. And now B Rabbit is ahead then up into sector 2 then. Good stuff indeed then into the point 10 position now as well on those hard compound tyres. New Zealand Cam and Coop switching places, and of course Coop on the older hard compound as well then. So there's quite a lot of tyre strategies going on out here. Of course there's some drivers who've yet to pit and some drivers then who have pitted of course under that safety car on lap 11 then. Lucas Percy trying to get himself into the DRS range then of Kiki, trying to get himself back in the race lead here as well. looking good out there as well for Lucas Percy. Then has he got the right strategy is the question, of course. Will Kiki then, what will Kiki do in terms of the strategy as well? We'll have to wait and see. Then Ekwaz has got himself past Kamara Racer. Then Lucas Percy then is catching up to the race leader of Kiki as we go on to lap 15. New Zealand Cam sets the fastest lap of the race, then going round down the inside, I should say, of Kamara Racer in the other Alpine. And now up into P5, then chasing down Jinnah then and Ekwaz. Then these three have pitted, of course, and they are on fresh tyres as well. Then chasing down Lucas Percy, then who is still behind Kiki at the moment. Then, but he's got a 1.4 second gap then over Jinnah then in the Mercedes, I should say, in the Mercedes sandwich, as he was then on the starting grid. So at the moment it's getting spicy out there, and of course Kiki then is going to try and hold up the AlphaTauri, then potentially get Jinnah then back in the fight then for the race lead as well. Lucas Percy needs to make hay now on those hard compound tyres. Can he get himself past the Mercedes, then back into the race lead and clear away then from the rest of the pack then, who are going to start fighting very soon as into Sector 3 we go. Then DRS is going to be available then for the AlphaTauri as Vess here and Mushroom then switching places as well. Then up the hill we go. Lucas Percy is in prime position then to make an overtake then for the race lead here. DRS available then as we go for the outside, I should say, then across the start finish line then, he takes the lead into lap 16 and up into P1 once again then for the AlphaTauri. Good stuff indeed. Kiki then, of course, yet to pit, but he's soldiering on up there is Kiki. Then he's into he's going to try and stay with the AlphaTauri, I think, of Lucas Percy for as long as possible then on those medium compound tyres. As much as he can, I should say, as we go down towards turn 4 once again. Then we've got Kamara Racer picking up a penalty. Then Kamara, of course, is one of the drivers yet to pit in this Grand Prix. Action down the field, then there's serious rush, and then he's starting to make way then on the McLarens. Then he's got himself past Gordo, he's got himself past Vess here, now up into P12, then just outside the top 10 as it stands then for the Ferrari driver. Then good stuff indeed. There's an Alfa Romeo, of Bree Rabbit then, right behind Sicker's Muck, and he's being held up then. Of course, Sicker's Muck has pitted as well. Then Gamer's got himself past Kamara then on the soft compound tyres. Gamer's going to be going on a charge, I think, here in the Williams, that is, on the soft compound. Everybody else is on the mediums or the hards. So Gamer is on the fastest tyre, of course, the grippiest tyre then towards the beginning of their life, that is. They will run out of grip then very quickly indeed compared to the medium compound tyre and the hard. Ekwaz has got himself back past Jinnah, has he? Oh, they're going to go side by side, 3 wide into turn, oh my goodness me, where are they? There we are. We've got almost 3 wide, I think it was, into turn 1. Ekwaz is now ahead of this train then, so we can try and fight back then down towards turn 4. Ekwaz then is defending the inside line, then he's got the inside line. There's an issue then for R2B then at the S's section. He's spun the car around and he's got himself up. Well, he hasn't got himself back underway just yet then. He has got himself back underway now, but unfortunately that is costly indeed then for R2B. We didn't see what was the issue then, what caused that issue, but it is easy to spin the car around then. A spit around that part of the circuit, I should say then, as New Zealand Can gets himself past Kiki then into Sector 2. A good move then from the AlphaTauri, then getting himself past in an opportunistic position, and now up into P4. Good stuff indeed out in front. Then it's still 1.1 seconds. This is good news for Lucas Percy then, if he can keep that gap over the 1 second window then to Jinnah. Of course, Jinnah then is in the Mercedes, going to have some more engine power then to try and get himself past, but he's going to have to try and contend with Ekwaz then first, because he's going to be looking behind rather than looking ahead for the time being. Here comes Ekwaz then with some DRS as well. On to the main straight we go then. And up into P2 then for the Alfa Romeo. Then Jinnah's going to fight back, I think, down towards turn 4, but he's going to be right behind that Alfa Romeo then, as so is New Zealand Can then, almost pushing both of them through the first couple of corners. Then Gordo's got himself past Sicker's Muck into the points pairing positions then in the McLaren. Good stuff indeed. And here comes Jinnah then back on the attack then in towards turn 4, then down the inside then into turn 4. Can Ekwaz do what Lucas Percy did earlier on in this race and try and make a switch back then on the Mercedes? Then R2B's got a 5 second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately for R2B, that's him done and dusted in this race as well. Bit of a shame that. But there we go then, as we go diving down the inside for New Zealand Can, then trying to make a move then on Ekwaz then, and this is getting spicy indeed then between the Alfa Romeos and the AlphaTauris. Of course, both contenders then for the Constructors' Championship, as New Zealand Can then always, I think, getting out of shape a bit then, as Gamer's got himself past Kiki then with a fantastic move as well, right behind in the horseshoe section. Try saying that fast. But Gamer then up into P5 then in chasing down New Zealand Can We've got yellow flags, and I think for the Haas of R2 Beat then retiring in the pit lane. 1.7 seconds to gap. This is great news for Lucas Percy. Then he can try and stretch his legs out there as well in the race lead. Then Ekwaz then in trying to fight for P2 is going to help Lucas Percy, I think, indirectly then as we go through into the centre S's. I think Jenna almost lost the car through there. Eugene Can picked up a 3-second penalty. That was costly for him into the S's section as well then. Down towards turn 4 once again. Here we come then, lap 19. As oh my goodness me, I thought Gamer was going to go for a dive down the inside there as well, but not the right time there. So we're too far back then to attempt that move, as he has thought better of it then as well. Ginner then 1.5 seconds to gap, then Sickers Muck picks up a penalty as well. Then unfortunately for Sickers Muck, that is him down at P11, and that's out of the points for the time being, but he's close to the points pen. Each was then right behind the McLaren of Gorda then as we go through the Sector 2 horseshoes once again then, sorry, for lap 19. We're flying through the laps here quite quickly indeed. So far so good then out on track then. We've only got 16 left unfortunately, because we've had a couple of pitted quitters, but unfortunately that is the issue then as we go across the line then to start off at lap 20 of 71, then 52 laps remaining as we start off at lap 20 here. And Ekwaz then I think just thinking about it then, he was thinking about it but he thought better of it, as he wants to then try and line up a move then on the exit of turn 3 then down towards turn 4. Because of course you get a double dosage of DRS then around this circuit. Then if you get yourself past at turn 1, he's derating I think then potentially, or just slowing the car down, we're not quite sure. Yeah, of course you get a double dosage of DRS there around this circuit. If you overtake into turn 1, the driver you just overtook can get you back then towards turn 4 with the DRS detection point in the Senna S's. As oh my goodness me, Gino almost losing the car going through sector 2. That is almost terrifying stuff indeed then for the Mercedes, and especially I think with the scary then for Ekwaz in P3 right behind that Mercedes car as well then as we go into sector 2 once again here. And Ekwaz then is Gino is causing a bit of a queue right now with the likes of Ekwaz on the medium compound tyres, same for New Zealand Canada, and Gamer of course who's on the soft compound tyres, all queuing up behind the hard runner of Ginner in the P2. So they're going to get antsy in the pantsy very soon. I'm not quite sure why I just said that or what the hell that is, but there we are. So don't quote me on that ever again, and I'll try not to say it ever again as well then. Ekwaz then getting himself past and up into P2, then down towards turn 1 we go then, and Ginner then is slotting into P3 as Ekwaz then takes back P2. Once again then Coop and Kamara and Serious Mushroom as well. They're getting involved into turn 1. Then Serious Mushroom then is on a charge. Look at him go. He's got himself past Kamara Racer. Then Kamara of course not pitted in the race. Save for Kiki as we've got more action ahead then. We've got more action ahead then between Ginner and Ekwaz. Then off the circuit goes the Mercedes then, and here comes New Zealand Cam on the outside of both of them. As oh my goodness, there's a Williams there as well then. Blimey, there's 4 of them as there's contact between oh my goodness me, and Gamer has sent Ginner off into Narnia, and I'm sure Gamer is not in the Ginner's Christmas card books list, whatever it is, as we get ourselves back onto the track then for Ginner. Then unfortunately we didn't see did see exactly what was going on. There was 4 cars going into turn 6, which doesn't really compete. But there we are then. Unfortunately then for Ginner then he has dropped down. He's dropped down to P10. He's still at the 410 though, so it's not costing him too badly, but he can get himself back in this race, and he's on the hard compound tyres. Of course there's still drivers to pit ahead of him as well then, who have not stopped just yet in this Grand Prix. New Zealand Can then lining up a move then for P2 then on Ekwaz as we go in towards turn 1. Here we go then to the AlphaTauri, then down towards turn 1, heavy braking zone, but not quite making the move. Then he's too far back then to attempt it into turn 1, that is. Can he try again then down towards turn 4? He's closing. He's already closing then before the DRS is even open then for the AlphaTauri. Then they're going to go side by side down towards turn 4. Here comes New Zealand Can, who takes P2 and up into AlphaTauri 1-2 as it stands, that is. Vessia and B-Rabbit then switching places, then Vessia coming back at him, and here comes Gordo as well then. The other McLarens then, they're having a great battle here with the Alfa Romeo. Deep on the brakes then for B-Rabbit, then he keeps hold of P13 for the time being. Of course there's quite a few drivers in ahead of him as well who have not pitted, so that will promote him up into the points pair positions. And as it stands, of course, when will they come into the pits is the other question. Then we've got Kiki, we've got Coop, we've got Kamara Racer, who's dropped down behind Sigismund and behind Ginner at the same time then. as there's an Alpha, sorry, not Alpha, McLaren going down the inside, around the outside. There's an Alpha now going down the inside of B Rabbit, then and Kamara then dropping down like a stone then in this race. Then of course those medium compound tyres, I think, are past their sell-by date compared to everybody else's cars who are almost at half lap life, I suppose you would say. But Kamara then is still sold one out there. Same for Keulen, same for Hungry Styles, and a couple of other drivers out there as well. Then Vesier's got so past it, coming up to the point 10 position now. Ahead of the Aston Martin, Coupe and Gordo switching places. Then Gordo up into P7, then Coupe dropping down. Vessier has held on to the place and ahead of Sickers Muck. Sickers Muck's got a great drive out of turn 2 and 3. And now trying to mount the pressure back on that McLaren. Then as we go down towards turn 4 once again, then he's going to have the outside then for turn 4. Can he make the move is the question. Then going to go around the outside, not quite. Then Vessier has the precedent then and keeps hold of P10 for the time being. That is right then out in front. Lucas Percy got a 2.3 second gap there. He's very comfortable indeed then for the time being for Lucas Percy. Then of course he's on the hard compound tyres as well. Then that's going to be very good news indeed for going long in this second stint. Of course he has pitted then from the medium compound tyres, which he started the race on under the safety car on lap 11. What happened to R2B then? I'm not quite sure. He seemed to have an issue, then a spin in the S's section a couple of laps ago. Jenner's gone around the outside of Coupe, then up into P8 now for the Mercedes driver, recovering in this race then after that contact with Gamer into sector 2. Yeah, like I said, R2B had an issue then in the S's section then a couple of laps ago as a B Rabbit got himself around the outside then of Sickers Muck. Has he? Yes, he has. And up into P11 now. But like I was saying, R2B is a big match to R2B, but there seems to be some sort of action on the track every time I try and do that. But yeah, into turn 1 we go then. Yeah, R2B had a spin around this area. We don't know if there was contact or if it was just on his own, but he is unfortunately retired in the pit lane then on the final race of the season then for the 100% lead. Here comes Vessier then on the attack then, trying to get himself into P9, then down the inside of Coupe. Then has he gone deep on the brakes? Yes, he has. But can Coupe switch back then into turn 5? Then it's going to be close indeed between the Williams and the McLaren. Once again then, I've seen a few people try and go for a nice little switchback then into turn 5 on the exit of turn 4, that is. As around the outside now goes the Williams car, then Vessier then deep on the brakes and into the right-hander, sorry, and he's kept hold of the position then for the time being. But this battle is costing them then, because as Kamara's been passed by Hungry Styles as well, then this is battling is costing them then, because of course they are losing time to the drivers ahead of them as well. Then as we've got quite a lot of the train then forming just outside the points then for the final points pair positions here on lap 25, I should say. Here comes Equaz then on the attack for that P2 position. The gap now 3.2 seconds out in front, which is looking even better then for Lucas Percy then as we go through into lap 25 here. Here comes Equaz though on the attack then. We'll get a better angle from here. Let's have a look and see if he can make a move into turn 4. My goodness me, he was weaving all over the place then was the Alpha there. Then that might have looked like it unsettled himself rather than unsettled the Alpha Tauri as we went into turn 4, but no moves being made then for the top 2. Let's see what's going on further down the order then. We've got all sorts of action here as we go into turn 4 here, and late on the brakes then for Sickers Muck, then always into the back of the Alfa Romeo, I should say, then a B Rabbit then. B Rabbit all over the back of Coupe, who's holding on to that final points pair position as it stands as well then. Great stuff indeed then as it stands. There's good fighting going on here for the points pair positions as well then. Oh my goodness me, I thought Sickers Muck was going to go right into the back of both of them then, but thankfully avoided it somehow as we go through into sector 2 into the horseshoe section once again. Then down the inside goes B Rabbit, sorry, on the attack of Coupe then, and trying to hold it around the outside now as well. Then yes, he has up into P10, then back up into the points pair position now for the Alfa Romeo car. Of course, he has got a bit of a gap then to Vessier then, who is starting to struggle. I think the medium compound tyres. He has got himself into the RS range. Has B Rabbit. Good stuff indeed out there. Serious mushroom. I completely missed him, but he's flying up there. He's up into P5, potentially P6 very soon. They call it there on 25 lap old hard compound tyres, and so is Kamal Racing 25 lap old medium compound tyres. So blimey, fantastic stints indeed then for those two, but can they get to the end of the Grand Prix on their next set of tyres? I'm not quite sure. Out in front 3 seconds is the gap then to Equaz, who's got himself past New Zealand Cam then into turn 4, and now on the attack can he get that gap down then to the race leader of Lucas Percy then. Of course the medium compound tyres we expect will drop off a bit earlier then, but we've just seen Coupe come in from the hard compound tyres at the same time as Kamara Racer has called it a day on his medium compound tyres. So interesting stuff indeed. Out on medium compound tyres for the both of them as well then, so that is a double stop then for Kamara after doing medium then so far in this race. so he will have to stop again at some point. You can't go to the end without using 2 different sets of dry compound tyres. That is if it's going to be a completely dry race. We'll have to wait and see. We might get some rain into Lagos, we usually do at some point, as here comes New Zealand Cam then on the attack, then down towards turn 1. He takes back P2 ahead now of the Alfa Romeo of Equaz. Then once again, then these two are dueling here for that P2 position as it stands. And Gamer is starting to drop off then on those soft compound tyres. I think those soft compounds might be getting towards the end of their sell-by date, as New Zealand Cam has switched places once again with Equaz then in towards turn 4. Equaz now ahead, or back ahead I should say. Gamer then in P4. He is trying to get himself into that DRS range, but the soft compound tyres I think are starting to struggle at this stage, so they're not going to be able to utilise the grip that they once had then on 17 lap old tyres compared to their fresh lap old fresh tyres, whatever they are, but they're not fresh anymore. So that's all I can say. Then out in front, that's the battle then. Coop and not Coop, sorry, Serious Mushroom, as Kiki picks up a penalty. That is bad news for Kiki. Then he's under pressure then from Serious Mushroom. Then Gordo is being brought with them, and Gina then is going to try and get himself into that fight as well very soon, I would imagine, on those hard compound tyres. Then so we'll have to wait and see when that's going to happen. Then Kiki's starting to struggle. Then 26 laps, 27 laps on those medium compound tyres. That is a pretty mean stint indeed then on those medium compound tyres. Wendell Mushroom then pounced for that P5 position, and Kiki has of course got the penalty. Then will he come in the pit lane as well? We have to go to the pit lane very soon, I would imagine, and he's coming in now. So he is calling it a day then. 27 laps on those medium compound tyres. That is a mammoth stint indeed here. So good stuff indeed from Kiki. Into the box then to get himself off those medium compound tyres and onto a set of medium compound tyres again. So there we go then. So medium then for Kiki. And that is the question then. What can they do then on those tyres? And can they get themselves into a range where they can go for the soft compound tyres in the last stint? Wait and see how it's going to unfold then. That's the beauty of 100% racing, is you don't know what track it's going to be. And the good thing as well is that in 100% race compared to a 50% race, you can adapt your strategy then on the fly then, and even get yourself back in contention for some big points then if you get the call right. So it is it's not all said and done, the 100% racing, as Gamer has got himself into the DRS range then of the two ahead of him, Equaz in the Alfa Romeo then, and New Zealand Cam in the Alfa Tauri. That is great news indeed for Gamer then, because he can now, even on older tyres, start to pull himself along now in this stint and try and get himself into contention potentially for a podium place then at the end of the Grand Prix. Then lap 29 has commenced, and we've still got 42 laps to go here, and blimey, I don't think my voice is going to last for the whole thing, to be fair, but at least that's going to be that for your ears. Then you can get rid of that horrible noise. Gordo has got himself past Serious Mushroom into P5, then the champion, and of course up into P5 now as Equaz and Gamer. Equaz and New Zealand Cam then switching places then once again into turn 4. Now the Alfa Romeo back ahead. Here comes the Serious Mushroom. No, Serious Mushroom is on a charge once again then into turn 4. He's got the inside then on Gordo, the champion. Then into P5 goes the Ferrari. Then Gordo, of course, is the champion. He's already been crowned two weeks ago then in the 100% league then in China, round 13 then, so he's already got the championship in the bag. Then he's racing for pride out there now, and he is looking good out there as well then on the hard compound tyres. Percy driving superb then, says Smithy then, and of course credit to Percy then for putting on a show here tonight as well then. We will try and find him, there we are, as Lucas Percy then finishing off lap 29 here. But like I said, Lucas Percy then putting on a show then. Smith as well, congratulating the Alfa Tauri driver. He's looking strong here in Brazil, and of course he's putting on the tribute then for his friend and his late friend then, Dr. Kupoc, who unfortunately missed it. Then the sad news then with the Dr. Kupoc and his unfortunately racing here in his memory tonight, and of course Brooksy and Lucas Percy put on a fantastic tribute indeed at the beginning of the session as well then, so feel free to go back and watch that. It was absolutely brilliant then from both the drivers then as well then to put on a show here tonight, and credit to them as well. Kiki's got himself past Keulen, then Keulen was still soldering on out there on medium compound tyres, almost 30 laps old then. There will be 30 laps old at the end of this one, and he is not going to be too happy on those medium compound tyres, I don't think, as we go through then onto lap 30 then, almost at the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Lucas Percy now got a 3.2 second gap then out in the lead as it stands, and looking quite comfortable on the hard compound tyres as it is. Equaz then is going to have something to say about that. Keulen's had a problem then somewhere. No, he has. Yes, he has. He has had a problem. Has he got a puncture potentially on those old tyres? And they could be getting into puncture territory. It seems like his Alpine is okay. And he is just soldiering on out there now. Unfortunately, we didn't see what happened there, but he seemed to have gotten off the circuit then at turn 5. But he's got himself back on and back underway as well then. Good stuff. Right, then the battle for P2 is starting to hot up once again then, as these three then are, well, they're fighting for the final podium places as it stands. Then B Rabbit has got himself past Ginner, has he? And Vessia has gone through as well then into turn 1 then. They're going to go side by side. And B Rabbit has got the position, he's got P7, then Ginner's got a good start, good jump then out to turn 2 and 3 on the back then of the two of them. We go down the hill once again then towards turn 4, then into turn 4. We're going to go 3 wide, are we? That is dangerous indeed. And B Rabbit is being pushed off the circuit there. B Rabbit coming back on the circuit now behind Ginner. Then Vessia then is side by side with the Alfa Romeo. Then they go through into turn 6. And B Rabbit then back up ahead then as we go. Oh my goodness me, I thought there was going to be contact between the McLaren and the Mercedes then, but the McLaren has got himself through, has he, round the outside now of the Mercedes end. And oh my goodness, there's contact between Ginner then and Vessia. Vessia's been spun around as we saw on the screen there as well. And unfortunately for Vessia, then that was, I think he had the position to be fair. And unfortunately, I think Ginner clipped the rear tyre then of the McLaren and spinning him around. And that has been very costly indeed then for Vessia as well, then trying to get himself back in this race. We'll see what he can do then. Can he bounce back then? I'm sure he can. But so far it is, so far that spin has cost him the points pen positions as it stands as well then, unfortunately for him. Right then, lap 32 of 71 then, Ginner picks up a penalty for speeding in the pit lane then, and that is going to be costly for him as well then, unfortunately. Then he's into the box, then Vessia is also in the box as well then, but of course Vessia is on very old medium compound tyres. Ginner was on 22 lap old hards as well, to be fair, so they've both done quite a mammoth stint already then, having pit under the safety car, but they have now pitted once again then to sort out their differences in the pit lane then, so good stuff. Right then, Equaz then is dropping back then from the New Zealand Cam. The pace is starting to be set then. Look at this then, the pace is coming down then, in New Zealand Cam's favour, I should say. Then he's got himself a 2.5 second gap then to the race lead. It was over 3 seconds a few laps ago. Maybe Lucas Purcell is having a bit of a fuel saving or an other saving stage of the Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see then. Equaz, has he got DRS then on the main straight? Then let's see, will that rear wing open? No, it won't then, I don't think. Unless I can't see it. I don't think I can see it because I think he has gained a lot of time then down that main straight then, so maybe he was in the DRS range. Just about. Good stuff indeed. And Equaz then is still in contention. Then Gamer, I think, is starting to drop off now. Those soft compound tyres have done 24 laps at the end of this lap. And that is almost as long as some drivers have taken the medium compound tyres, or even longer in some cases. Hungry Styles and Sick as Muck then switching places, then up into P9 now for Hungry Styles. Then good stuff from him, and that now challenging then for some points pairing positions here as well. Then here comes Sick as Muck. They're trying to fight back then for that P9 position, and with some DRS as well. Then hopefully he can get himself back through then into turn 4, but he's too far back then to make the move then on the Red Bull car, and stays behind for the time being into turn 5, and that is that then. Out in front then, Serious Mushroom doing a good job when he's up into P5 now. Of course, he is fighting potentially for the top 3 in the standings, but Lucas Purcell then is also in that fight then, and currently leading the race, then currently winning the race as it stands at the halfway point almost then for this Grand Prix. 11 seconds then back to Serious Mushroom then from X-Gamer, who is still struggling on to try and hold on to that DRS range for the 2 ahead of him here onto lap 34. Then I think he hasn't got it, but he is in DRS range then for the next straight, I think. Equaz then soldiering on out there. The gap still hovering around 2.6 seconds or so, 2.7 seconds then to Lucas Percy and his teammate of New Zealand Cam. Then as we go down towards turn 4 once again, flying through then into turn 4, Kiki and Sick as Muck then switching places. Of course, Kiki on much fresher medium compound tyres is back up into the points pair positions now ahead of the Aston Martin, and trying to chase down Hungry Styles out of the Red Bull pair right in front of the Mercedes, now trying to get themselves involved in the fight then for the points pair positions here as well. Then on to lap 34. Guinney sets the fastest lap of the race, then he's got himself under a fresh set of medium compound tyres and is back underway and trying to get himself back in this Grand Prix as well. Then unfortunately for Ginner and Vessia, then both of them having to make a pit stop then after that collision then into into sector 2, I think it was, where they both clipped each other, and I think Ginner clipped the back of the McLaren, that was, but that will be looked at after the race. I'd imagine good stuff indeed. Gamer's doing a great job out there on the soft compound tyres. It's not been said enough. I've been saying it too much, to be fair, but it's not been said enough at the same time as over the line then to start lap 35. Then Gamer is staying within that DRS range, just about then of the two ahead, and that is keeping him in contention for this podium place here on 26 lap old soft compound tyres. It is a mammoth stint indeed already for the Williams car, but he's doing a great job out there indeed. And we've just had a few changes. I think we've had not sick as much, so we've had Kiki getting himself past Styles, then up into P9 now, right in the middle of a Red Bull sandwich here as we go onto exit turn 3, then in towards onto turn 4, I should say, in towards lap 4, in towards turn 4. Once again sets the fastest lap then. Oh my goodness, Vince's gone very deep on the brakes then, and Kiki has gone flying through then up into P8 now and takes the place then on the Red Bull car. Then Gino picks up a penalty as well then, unfortunately for Gino. Then he's got himself the fastest lap then, 2 laps in a row. He is really going for it on those medium compound tyres, but unfortunately he's picked up a penalty then from his trouble as well then. Out in front then, using Cam still holds on to P2, then Equaz I think just waiting in the wings then, potentially saving some fuel and some ELRS then behind the AlphaTauri driver as we go on to lap 36. And there we are then, 3.2 seconds to gap now. The gap has re-extended back to over 3 seconds now for Lucas Percy. As I think the medium compound tyres might be getting towards the end of their best life here, which could be dangerous stuff indeed. It could be in terms of the pit stop strategy. Time to call it a day then. We'll have to wait and see who's going to do what then into turn 1. Then Gordo too far back to make a move on Mushroom then, but can he manage to move then in towards turn 4 next? Kiki has got himself past B-Rabbit then on the fresh medium compound tyres. Here comes Gordo. The champion then of course on the back then of Serious Mushroom then in towards turn 4 then, and we've got ourselves, oh my goodness me, and Mushroom then has gone off the circuit then. I'm not quite sure what happened there. It looked like Gordo had the position then down the inside, and Mushroom might have turned in a bit too early then on the McLaren, but unfortunately that has cost Mushroom dearly as well. Those medium compound tyres, he's lost 2 seconds now to the McLaren as well, going through into sector 2 here as we go up the hill then for P-Rabbit as well. He's lost out to Kiki, then Vintage and Styles then switching places as Styles is off the circuit then. Where has he gone? He's gone in sector 2 then, is Styles then. Blimey, he has really gone off the circuit in great style indeed, no pun intended. But yes, unfortunately Styles then trying to get himself back underway then. I'm not quite sure. Maybe those tyres are definitely, I think those tyres are definitely done, to be fair, but they have been cooked enough now I think for Styles. As into the pits comes Gamer, 27 laps on the soft compound tyres. That is fantastic indeed then from the Williams driver. I'm not quite sure he needed or wanted to do a stint that long on the soft compound tyres, but he has done that nonetheless. Then medium compound tyres going on. Can he get to the end of the race on those medium compound tyres is the question. And the other question is, where will he come out in relation to the battling pack then? B-Rabbit's going to go through I think into P7. Gamer coming round the S's section of the pit lane, that is, because it used to feed out a bit further on, but now into exit turn 3. Then Gamer out in P8 as it stands. He's on the freshest tyres on the circuit so far, apart from 100 Styles is on soft compound tyres and back underway. So going for a very fast indeed then for Hungry Styles. Good stuff indeed then after recovering from that spin. Right then, out in front, like I said, that battle then has decreased then by 1. Then as Gamer is coming to the pit lane, then Equaz now is trying to hold on to New Zealand Cam then, who is 3.4 seconds behind the race lead. Then Kiki all over the back of Mushroom now as well then on those medium compound tyres then, that are very keen to get past the Ferrari, I would imagine then, as we go over the crest of the hill then onto lap 38 then for these two. Staying out, no, Mushroom is coming in the pit lane, and Mushroom is calling it then on those medium compound tyres. Slowing down just in time, very slowly indeed in the pit lane for the Ferrari. B-Rabbit has been passed by Gamer as well as we go over the start-finish line. Then into P6 now goes Gamer, then on the freshest medium compound tyres out there. Our compound tyres going on the Ferrari of Serious Mushroom. Then I think, and I'm pretty confident in saying that can get to the end of the Grand Prix from here. We have got to do what we've got to do, about 32 laps or so. We've got Sick as Muck soldiering on out there on the hard compound tyres, same for Vintage and B-Rabbit. Then so potentially we could see that come into fruition then at the end of the Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see then. Hard compound tyres, of course, for the race leader of Lucas Percy, who's just keeping that gap at about 3.2, 3.4 seconds roughly. as we go over the hill then once again. Then Ekwaz, sorry, losing out then to the DRS then, I think, of New Zealand Cam. That's going to be costly indeed then for Ekwaz. Then is he going to call it a day and come in the pit lane? No, he's not. He's staying out once again then as we go on to, oh dear, what's happened? As the gap has come down from 3.3 seconds down to 2.9 then for Lucas Percy then. So something's happened then for the AlphaTauri driver out there, but he has carried on then nonetheless. Ekwaz as well sorting on those medium compound tires. Pretty good stuff indeed. Then Gordo has got himself up into P4 then ahead of Kiki there, but Kiki I think on the fresh tyres will be looking to get himself back through then for P4 very quickly indeed. We'll have to wait and see when that happens, of course, but I think it might be very imminent indeed as we go down towards turn 4 here for the Mercedes driver. He's got the move down the inside. He's ahead of Gordo into turn 4, and he takes back that position as well. Then good stuff indeed then from Kiki. Then can he soldier on, get himself back in contention as well? Coop and Vintage then switching places. Then Coop up into P13 on the medium compound tyres, and he's got himself past the Rebel car. Good stuff indeed then. Gamer then trying to catch up to the McLaren of Gordo as well. Then Gamer, of course, on the much fresher medium compound tyres, I think will be very quickly on the back of that McLaren then with the 29 lap or 30 lap old hard compound with that orange papaya car as well then. So I think that will be undisputed very soon. Of course, if you want to watch boxing, then Tyson Fury and somebody else is boxing soon. Jake Paul and Mike Fury, they're boxing too. So go and watch that. I think it's in May. Anyway, here comes Ekwaz then into the box, and he's calling to stay then on the medium compound tyres, onto a set of hard compound tyres to finish off the race. Then 31 laps, I would imagine. I think it's 32 actually, including the final lap. That is on the hard compound tyres is going to be doable, I would imagine, and we'll have to wait and see how it's going to fare though out on track. Right then, going through into sector 2, sector 1, I should say. Then Gamer's got himself past Gordo, then up into P4 now for Gamer. Then on the freshest medium compound tyres out there as well. Then he's now got a 1.1 second gap then to the podium places of Kiki's position. That is 15 seconds back behind New Zealand Cam. Then of course pit stop then starting to be built then for the AlphaTauris as well. Then I think they're going to be thinking about pit stopping very soon indeed. Right then, fresh hard compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix for Ekwaz, I would imagine. Let's see what he can do then. Can he get himself into contention for a podium place once again? Then into the pits comes the race leader of Lucas Percy, and he's calling it a day then on the hard compound tyres. Only 31 laps then, which is quite a small stint for the hard compound tyres compared to the rest of the field pretty much. So interesting stuff indeed. Let's see what he's going to go on to. 30 laps to the end of the Grand Prix here then. Compound tyre then going on to the AlphaTauri now, and back out and underway he goes. Where will he come out in respect to his rivals is the question. And Gamer has got an undercut, I think. Gamer, where is Gamer then? He's up into P3 now is Gamer, and ahead of the AlphaTauri of Lucas Percy then as we go through the S's section and back out onto the track then for Lucas Percy down in P4. But of course there is he's on the much fresher tyres now as Gamer's got himself ahead of Kiki then into turn 4 as well. Then up into P2 now for Gamer then on those 4 lap old medium compound tyres. He's got 4 lap older tyres than Lucas Percy, who is just over 2 seconds behind the Williams car as it stands. Right then, I think we're going to see some fighting then for the race lead very soon then, because Lucas Percy of course is going to try and catch up then to the pack here. Catch up to the pack. It's only 2 of them ahead of them, but he's going to catch up to the pack nonetheless. Gordo of course is going to have to pit. I think on 32 lap old hard compound tyres are not going to be holding on for very much longer, I don't think. Lucas Percy is going to go early then, so he's gone on to the medium compound tyres. Then potentially will that work to the end of the Grand Prix? We'll have to wait and see. That is the question, of course. Kiki, I think, has lost out to the DRS then of Gamer. Then Gamer's done a great job then through sector 3 on those medium compound tyres to get himself out of that 1 second window. Lucas Percy then onto the back straight then, and away he goes then on his first flying lap then after coming out of the pit lane then onto a new set of medium compound tyres. In the pit comes B Rabbit then 32 laps then for B Rabbit on the hard compound as well then, so he is calling it a day then on the hards finally. Same for Vintage as well, then Vintage coming in the box then for the Red Bull team. Let's see what they're going to go on to is the question. I think Vintage is going to come in the box first. Medium compound tyres then for the Red Bull, and the same then for B Rabbit in the Alfa Romeo then. So both of them going on to the medium compound tyres. I think the same as Lucas Percy as Kamara Race has got himself past Coop into P7. Great stuff indeed out there. It's been pretty good stuff in the final race of the season as B Rabbit then exiting the pit lane then into P12, I think. Or is he going to be P12 because Vess here is right behind. And Vessia then is down in P13 then for Vessia. As it stands, then out of the pits comes Vintage as well. Then Vintage back underway. Then he's going to be ahead of Kydell for this next stint, I would imagine. Out in front, then New Zealand Cam soldering on out there. He's done 33 laps now on the medium compound tyres, so I think he's going to be undercut by his teammate. He's now under pressure then from Lucas Percy. Then DRS available then for the Alpha Tauri. Gordo and Ekman was switching places already before the DRS line. Kiki has dropped down then to P4, then Lucas Percy back up into the podium places now with that overtake into turn 1 as well. Then round the outside he goes. He has got P3 and now chasing down X Gamer, then 4 laps fresher tyres than the Williams car. Then Cooper's got himself back past Kamara Racer, then into turn 1. Cooper back up into P7 here and looking good indeed. Of course, he's they're both on the same freshness of tyre as Kamara picks up a penalty then going through the S's section. Bad news then for the Alpine, but can he make the move back into turn 4 then on the Williams car? Then too far back. I think he's thought about it and he's decided it's not worth the risk. Out in front then Lucas Percy to try and get himself into that contention then for DRS then on the Williams car of X Gamer. Then out in front before those two, ahead of those two I should say, that's not really good commentating, is it? Out in front before those two is New Zealand Cam. Then he's done 34 laps now on the medium compound tyres. When will he call it a day on those medium compound tyres is the question. He is still going, no, he's coming in the pit lane now, so he's called it a day finally here. And he's got a 5-second penalty in the pit lane as well. Then unfortunately I think that's going to be his last stop as well potentially, so that is going to be very costly indeed. That's going to be added to his race time unless there's a safety car or unless there's another pit stop coming then for New Zealand Cam. What is he going to go on to? It's a set of soft compound tyres here. Blimey, that is going to be very quick indeed then for the Alpha Tauri driver then, but will they be able to get to themselves to the end of the race? We'll have to find out then. Lucas Percy got himself into DRS range of Gamer and onto the fight for the race lead, I should say. Once again then out of the pits comes the Alpha Tauri of New Zealand Cam. Then he's going to be right down in P6 unfortunately for him, but he's still got the likes of Gordo who's got to pit. Potentially Kiki might have to pit again as well. So that will promote him up 2 places then. He's then got to use those soft compound tyres to fight as quickly as possible. There's Jinner and Coop then fighting then through turn 4 and 5. Then Jinner up into P8 now. And ahead, is he ahead? He is ahead then of the Williams car then. As we go into turn 6 and 7 now. Kamara Racer, of course, they've got 6 lap older tyres as Kamara and Coop then compared to Jinner. Who was pitted now onto the medium compound tyre. I'm not quite sure if Jinner can get to the end of the race as well. Then we'll have to wait and see. Then out in front, New Zealand Cam and Gordo then already switching places then for New Zealand Cam on the soft compound tyres. Gordo's old hard compound cannot fight then for this part of the race. Then Lucas Percy's got the fastest lap of the race then, and he's got himself up into P1 as well. Then as we go over the start finish line then onto lap 45, he has taken the race lead away from the Williams of Gamer then up into the race lead once again then for the Alpha Tauri. But here comes Gamer on the attack once again then down towards turn 4. Can he make a move then for that race lead? Then he thinks better of it, then he decides to stay behind. Well, he has no option to stay behind unless he wants to risk his front wing, I think. But he has not made that move then. I think very wise indeed. Gordo is still soldiering on out there on those hard compound tyres. Out and behind them, we've got all sorts of battling. I think, oh no, it wasn't battling. I think Jinner's got himself past Kamara and up into P7 now. And chasing down the next target of Gordo. Then 5 seconds the gap between the two of them, but that gap I think will come down very quickly indeed then with Gordo's old hard compound tyres then starting to struggle, it looks like, out there into sector 2. Right then, out in front is the closest battle on track at the moment. And we've got X Gamer then, who is trying to keep up with them with Lucas Percy over the crest of the hill. Then onto lap 46 we go. Then we've got what have we got exactly? We've got 25 laps remaining at the end of this one. And yes, no, 25 laps remaining at the end of this one. Next one, there we go. As fastest lap set for Lucas Percy there as well. Then into the 1 minute 10s then for the Alpha Tauri. Then of course the fuel load's coming down at this stage of the race as well. Then it's going to be very helpful for those drivers that of course trying to extend the stint. Then of course trying to extend their tyre life as well. Then because you have less weight on the tyres. Then of course picking someone with a lot of weight, then you can you have less weight. Then you can do much more faster stuff. There we go. So that's that. But Lucas Percy then holding on to the race lead for the time being. Gamer, I think, just trying to hold on to that Alpha Tauri as well. Then potentially has got the win on the card still then for the Williams driver. And still looking strong then for a podium at least at this stage of the race as well then. So it's good stuff indeed then for the Williams car. Serious Mushroom's got himself past Sick as Muck then into P10 then into the points pair positions now for Serious Mushroom. We did pit 8 laps ago then. It's a lot earlier than those who went on to medium compound tyres. But can he get to the end of the race on those hard compounds? I'd imagine he can. So that is going to be very promising indeed, especially if there's still drivers to pit. The likes of Kamara, the likes of Coop, potentially the likes of Jinner, the likes of Gordo definitely have to pit again. The likes of Kiki might have to pit again as well. Then we'll have to wait and see. Out in front then Lucas Percy and X Gamer then continuing their battle as we go into turn 1 onto lap 47 of 71 now, and the laps ticking down here in the Interlagos Grand Prix, or the Brazilian Grand Prix then in Interlagos. That is pitted then for fresh medium compound tyres, and he's got a lap 36 lap old hard compound tyres in the middle. And let's see if he can make the move then into turn 1 with the DRS as well then. Then around down the outside, I should say, then around the outside into turn 1 then. Yes, he's got the position, he's up into P11 now is Bree Rabbit then, and of course is able to try and charge on then for the next part of the race then. Of course I think Bree Rabbit is one of the drivers who can go to the Grand Prix on those tyres as well then. So that could be quite good indeed then for the Alfa Romeo team then in their championship fight then as well. But at the moment, I believe Lucas Percy and New Zealand Cam then are going to be crowned the constructors champions as well here. If it stays this way, then of course only one McLaren in the points, and of course that is Gordo in P6. But of course he needs to pit as well. Then he's done 37, potentially almost 38 laps then on those hard compound tyres. Yes, he's done 38 laps then on those hard compound tyres, which is a mammoth stint indeed. Who did we see do a lot of laps then? Was it last week? I think it was 37 laps or so on the hard compound tyres around Silverstone then for 100 stars, wasn't it? As New Zealand comes the fastest lap of the race, then that's still going to the AlphaTauri then in terms of the points. So in terms of the constructors, it's going in the right direction then for the AT team. The last race then for the 100% league, then the AT or the AlphaTauri then is going to be representative. Of course, it's going to be switching to the V-Carb team next season. Out in front then, the gap has extended over 1 second then for Lucas Percy, then he's over 1.4 seconds now to Gamer as we go into lap 48. That is exactly what he needed. He wanted to drop the Williams car then and not have to fight for the race lead then, as he's now got himself a nice sizable gap then. Equaz then in P4, right behind Kiki then. Of course Kiki and Equaz in the fight then for P2 in the championship, and this could get close indeed. And I think Equaz needs to win to be able to try and get himself into contention then for that P2 position. Then he's still trying to cement a place in the top 3 of the standings, of course. Over the crest of the hill then. We've got New Cam in the fight here for that P2 position. Here comes Equaz then on the back of Kiki. Here comes New Cam on the back of both of them. As we go over the line, this will start off lap 49 then. As we go driving down the inside then for New Zealand Cam. That is dangerous indeed. I don't think that far back, and blimey, New Zealand Cam then almost knocking himself off the circuit, and Kiki was going to go with him, I think. But there we go. Then Jinner's got himself past Gordo as well. Gordo is struggling. He's done 39. He's still going. He's Gordo. Blimey, the championship leader has really put on a fantastic race then for his hard compound tyres. As New Zealand Cam is trying to get himself past Kiki then as well. Then, but Kiki is still rightfully within his remit then to hold on to the place for as long as he can on those tyres as well. Then, oh my goodness me, round the outside goes New Zealand Cam. Then there's contact between the two of them again, and Kiki then I think has had to yield then to the AlphaTauri. Then I'm not quite sure why New Zealand Cam is getting so antsy out there, I suppose you could say. But there we are. Equaz now into P3 then, of course, on the hard compound tyres then going to the end of the Grand Prix here. We've got much older tyres then for Kiki then, of course he does have to pit again, I would imagine. I don't think he can get those tyres to the end of the Grand Prix from here, which would be a mammoth stint indeed if he can get them to the end of the Grand Prix, but I don't think it's possible. Here comes New Zealand Cam then on the back of Equaz towards turn number 1. He stays behind for the time being, then going through the CNRSs onto lap 50 of 71. Then we've got 21 laps remaining at the end of this one. So far it's been pretty good out there. Here comes the Camden on the attack of the Alfa Romeo, then down the outside at turn 4. Can he keep the move then? Yes, he has got the move done on the soft compound tyres as well. Then good stuff indeed. Then Sickers Muck then Vintage soldiering on out there as well. Then Vintage has got himself up into P12 now, past the Aston Martin of Sickers Muck. He's done 40 laps then. I think Gordo and Sickers Muck then are going for some sort of record around this circuit on the hard compound tyres. So far they are really soldiering on out there. Then on to 40 lap old tyres as well. B Rabbit got himself past Mushroom as he into turn 4. Then B Rabbit now ahead into the points pen positions, of course, as it stands. But the penalty situation then is not in his favour as we go into turn 6 now as well. So far so good out here. It's been You might stick him out to the end, says Gordo. Okay, give it a try and see what you can do. Very nice indeed then. See how long you can get those hard compound tyres to last. Then, of course, if you get a puncture, you can go to the soft compound tyres from now on, because you can pretty much get to the end of the race then on those on the soft compound tyres, I would imagine. But looks like New Zealand Cam is going to try and get to the end of the race on those tyres as well. And he's going to have to do 27 laps on the soft compound, which is going to be well, it's going to be difficult indeed, I would say. Mara Racer in the pit lane, and same for Coop as well. That's released B Rabbit and Serious Rushing them up into P8 and P9 respectively. Where will they come out onto the field, and what tyre are they going to go onto as well? Then is the question. It's soft compound tyres going on the Alpine, so that is that one done, and it is medium compound tyres going on the Williams car. So interesting stuff indeed. Then I think Coop then not too fond of the soft compound tyres then, and choosing to go for the longevity of the tyre for the medium compound, that is onto lap 51. So Gordo now is doing a tyre challenge, it looks like here. So he's won the championship 2 rounds ago. He's now going to go for how long can the hard compound last around Brazil. So he's doing a nice little test out there, I suppose, for us. Of course, we've got the 50% races coming up. Then, of course, there's a break week from this week onwards. The awards will be coming out very shortly as well, but that is a spoiler alert for you. But we will release that then over the bank holiday weekend. But then, of course, we've got the break week then this weekend coming up. Then is Brazil and Imola then to finish off the season then for bronze, silver and gold, of course. But this is the final race of the season then for the 100% league this season, that is. And Gordo here is the champion. He was crowned in China 2 rounds ago then, and he's done a great job. His New Zealand Cam has retired, and it's a safety car here, and that is bad news indeed then for his AlphaTauri teammate and for the AlphaTauri in the Constructors' Championship as well, I would imagine. We'll have to wait to see what's happened then, because he's gone off the circuit at this point here. It looked like that's where Styles went off as well. So he's had some sort of issue then in Sector 2, and New Zealand Cam out of the race then on lap 52, and that's a safety car. Let's see what's going to happen out in front here as well. Into the pits comes the race leader of Lucas Percy, who is calling it a day on those medium compound tyres. Same for Gamer as well then. I think everyone will follow him in, to be honest, and it will be soft compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix from here. Gordo, I think he's going to scrap the challenge then and go on to a set of soft compound tyres. I think the same with everybody else then, as Lucas Percy then out of the box then in trundling down into turn 1. Then we've got lap cars then, or not lap cars, sorry, lap cars that are still on the lead lap, I should say, carrying on out there. I'm not quite sure what happened to Kai Dow. He seems to have had an issue somewhere. He's got himself back underway. Good stuff. Right then, into the pits comes everybody pouring in for the soft compound tyres. Then Gordo is still going there, and like I was saying, I'm not quite sure why Gordo is still going it. He seems to be not listening to the message. Then I don't think it's the option to carry on in this race. 5-second penalty for Vintage, unfortunately, for speeding in the pit, and that's costly indeed for Vintage as well, as B Rabbit into the box as well. Then, so Gordo is carrying on the hard compound tyres. I would advise strongly against it. Mushroom's got a fan in the comment section as well. Then onto the what is Mushroom doing? Mushroom is in the pit lane, but he's teleported somewhere, and he's on 7 lap hold mediums according to my screen. So interesting. Not quite sure what has happened then for Mushroom. Yeah, he's on medium compound tyres. Then 7 lap hold for Serious Mushroom. Then not quite sure what's going on there for the Ferrari driver. Then same for Coop. Then Coop's on old medium compound tyres as well then, and Gordo is on 43 lap hold hard. Gordo, I just advise you to get out of the way, to be honest, because if you're going to stay out on the hard compound tyres, you are going to be a nightmare for those around you. But there we are. He has decided to soldier on, it looks like, on the hard compound tyres. So interesting. Very interesting stuff indeed, and yes, there we are then. So he is still staying out then. Unfortunately, this is going to be absolute carnage then for everybody around him, and he needs to be well, he's not really going to be helping himself then, because if he gets involved in loads of incidents, then he's going to have to get himself involved in lots of reporting. So unfortunately for Gordo, this is not going to end well, and I can foresee the future already. But there we are. Right then, lap 54 of 71 then, we're just waiting for the safety car to catch up the queue. Kamara Racer up into P6, then he's on the soft compound tyres, same for Gino in P7, Rabbit in P8. This is good news for Vesio and Sickers Muck there, of course they can catch up to the back of the queue as well then, or hopefully they can before the safety car gets bored and goes back in the pit lane anyway, but we'll have to wait and see when that happens, as into turn 6 we're going along, unfortunately. I don't see it's going very well for Cordo. I don't see it going well for Kiki, for Kamara, for Gina, for B Rabbit. I think we just need to consider that potentially they are going to be a lot later on the brakes than you are, as Hungry Styles puts up a penalty, unfortunately trying to catch up with the queue. Then he's got himself a 3-second level under the safety car. You don't realise how much they are going to be later on the brakes than the rest of the field. So that is my concern, and I don't think Kiki, Kamara and Gina are going to be that prepared then for as the safety car is covered in this lap already then, as both Kiki, Kamara and Gina are going to be that prepared then for a McLaren on 45 lap old hards then to start braking about 500 metres earlier than they will be starting to brake. But there we are. So we're going to get ourselves restarted here. Unfortunately, Styles, he's not going to be able to get himself caught up unless it's a very slow safety car restart. For some reason, Keulen will sit as much as places under the safety car, as Lucas Percy then is waiting for that restart, then waiting for the right timing then to drop the hammer and go. But he will have to do it at some point. But he's not going just yet. Then he has gone now, and up to the line we go. Then as we cross the line to start off lap 55 of 71 here, and Cordo has where's Cordo got? He's I think staying out the way with good stuff. Kamara Racer has got himself past. No, he hasn't. Kamara Racer has got himself past, but he hasn't got himself past it. Cordo then dropping out of the way. Then Cordo is doing his tyre challenge, so we have to leave him be. But there we go then, out to the background. Then we've got Gina then trying to go down the inside of Kamara Racer, and there's contact between the two of them. And Kamara Racer's gone dropped down to P6, and Gina up into P5. And back underway he goes then, out in front then 7/10 of a second then to Lucas Percy. Of course that gap was over 4 seconds then before the safety car came out, so New Zealand Cam has not done his teammate any favours there, as Serious Mushroom is battling with the ghost car of Vessia, and so Vessia once again is ghosting out then, so I'm not ghosting out there, so I'm not quite sure what's happening then, as Sick as much got in the back of him then, and Hungry Styles has got himself past Cordo as well, and Hungry Styles has almost got himself onto the back of the queue now, which is good stuff indeed for the Red Bull car. Out in front, 8/10 of a second is the gap then as we cross over onto lap 56. 15 laps remain here in this race then. Of course, this is the final race of the season then for the 100% lead. And used meds then, says Serious Russian. Yes, we noticed that then as you came out of the pit lane, it was on 7 lap old medium compound tyres, and now on 10 lap old medium compound tyres. That's got the race on those tyres as well, then I would imagine. So we'll have to wait and see how he can do. As Gino and Kiki are switching places, then Gino is up into P4 and ahead of his teammate now into turn 4, and they're trying to chase down the likes of Equise, the likes of Gamer, and the likes of the race leader of Lucas Percy here. We'll have a look at the penalty situation. We've got 3 seconds then for both Mercedes, then 3 seconds for B Rabbit and Coop, 3 seconds for Hungry Styles, then we've got 5 for Vintage. Of course, that speeding in the pit lane penalty is going to be very costly indeed, then 6 for Simmons Monk then, and 9 for Kamara Racer. Blimey, that's a lot of penalties then for Kamara Racer. But that is the situation then with the penalties. But we'll keep them up on the screen then for the next couple of minutes. But then we'll go back to seeing what everyone's doing then for their tyres. But pretty much everybody apart from Serious Mushroom and Coop, I think it was, are on the soft compound tyres. Everybody else apart from Gordo as well, then who's on the 90,000 lap old hard compound tyres. Lucas Percy at the fast lap race, and Equise then comes back at him with a 10.295. Then that's going to be good news for the Alfa Romeo in the constructors fight. DRS has been enabled now as well then, as Gamer is going to try and hold on to the top. He's going to hold on to the lead, try and hold on to the leader of this race, I should say, which is Lucas Percy out in front. Then the top 3 have already extended their gap then over Gina. Then they've got themselves over 1 second. Then it's going to be very good news indeed for the top 3, that is, to try and get themselves away from the Mercedes pair as we go through into the final stages of this Grand Prix and the final stages of the season here as well. So far, it has been an epic Grand Prix indeed. Then, unfortunately, five drivers retired this race. Then very early on as well. Then, apart from New Zealand Cam, who only retired about 5 laps ago, but everybody else has retired very early on in the first half of the race. Even. They did not want to take the final race of the season, I don't think. But there we are then, out of the final couple of corners then, and onto the back straight. DRS, of course, is going to be available then for game. And as we go through onto lap 58, then here he comes then on the attack then of Lucas Percy for the race lead here, and Game takes the race lead ahead of the AlphaTauri into turn 1. And is up into that race lead position. Of course, the first time he's been in that race lead position in this race. And on lap 58, of course, as well. Then here comes Lucas Percy on the attack, back then into those turn 4. Then when he goes for the move, then into turn 4, not quite. He stays behind in P2 for the time being. And the gap then is extending in between the top 3 then, and Jinner then in P4. Then 1.5 seconds of the gap. Then B Rabbit and Kamara Racer are switching places, and Kamara Racer's gone wide somewhere at turn 5. And that has cost him a place then to the Alfa Romeo of B Rabbit. And like I was saying, in the challenge fight then, we've got one AlphaTauri left then, but 2 Alfa Romeos then, 2 Mercedes then fighting away then, and looking strong indeed then. Only 1 McLaren in the points as it stands as well, then potentially that could cost the McLaren team the Constructors' title. Maybe waiting in the wings then for Game to wear out his tyres. We'll have to wait and see when there's going to be all sorts of calamity then as we go over the back of the hill. Then I think Airbus is going to be involved potentially as well then for this race win on the cards, that is, then for the Alfa Romeo then, as we go over the line to start off lap 59 and in towards turn 1 once again. Then Lucas Percy not making the move then for the race lead on the Williams car then, as we go into turn 1 through the S's section of the centre S's. Then 1.8 seconds the gap then between the Mercedes and the top 3. Vasseur and Sickers up then switching places and up into P9 for the McLaren. Here comes Lucas Percy back again then into turn 4, and not quite making the move then for the race lead. He's 6 behind once again. Then he stays calm, stays composed, stays in P2 as Vintage and Vasseur and Sickers Muck all involved in that one, as Vintage then I think was nerfed off the circuit then, it looked like, but he's got himself back underway and back on the back then of the top 10 as well. Then he's only half a second away from the top 10 as it stands. That 5-second penalty though is going to be costly indeed then if he can't. So now can he? Unfortunately, he has to just add it onto his race time at the end of the Grand Prix, which is a shame indeed. And here comes Lucas Percy then once again on the attack then of the Williams X Gamer then, who is leading the race now. He's led the race for the last 3 laps, which is his new lap record, or new record I should say, then in the 100% league this season. He has led 3 laps in, and that is as much as he's led them I think in the whole season as well. And into turn 1 once again then, and Gamer then stays ahead, sorry I should say. Lucas Percy stays behind then into turn 2 and 3 as well then. On the exit of turn 3 though, this is where it's going to be get spicy indeed. Then can he get himself past into turn 4? And once again he stays behind again. So I think Lucas Percy is playing some sort of tactics here. Not quite sure what they are because I don't know how to race. But there we are then, as Jinner and B Rabbit then switching places. Then Jinner now Jinner has lost out to B Rabbit. Then B Rabbit is pushing through then into P5. Then this is great news for Alfa Romeo, as they are in a fight with Mercedes as well then. Into sector 2 we go then, and B Rabbit now in the Mercedes sandwich, as we've got a nice sizable gap then of 2.6 seconds to the top 3. Now the Mercedes then battling between each other then have cost themselves a lot of time then to the top 3 as it stands. 0.4 of a second then between Lucas Percy and the race lead as it stands as well. Then through the final couple of corners then of lap 60 onto lap 61 then. 11 laps remain at the end of this one. Straight to go then. Here we come with some DRS then for Lucas Percy then in towards turn 1, and once again he stays behind. He's maybe just saving a bit of battery then for Lucas Percy as we go on to lap 61 here. Then 10 laps remain at the end of this one. Then we're going to be starting to get into the nitty-gritty part of the race, or the final part of the race I should say, as again I don't think he's going for the move, is he? Yes he is then. He has gone for the move then, into, oh my goodness me, then an X Gamer then almost all over the place, then losing the back end of the car, and that could have cost him, well, could have cost him his place in the race to be honest, but it could have cost him even more than just the P1 position. Then he's lost out to Lucas Percy then, but he's still within range of the race lead. But it looked like that back end was getting a bit flighty then for the Williams car as we went into turn 5 then onto lap 61 here. Right then out in front, then the gap trying to be, I think Lucas Percy trying to extend now as well. Then he's probably saved up some DRS, saved up some fuel behind the Williams car, and now soldiering onto lap 62 as we start off the last 10 laps here of the 100% season as well. Then this is it then for F1 23 then in the 100% league. As we cross the line then for Lucas Percy, then he is in the lead of the race. Then we've got 10 laps to go now. X-Gamer, sorry, and Equaz then are soldiering on. Then they're battling away then for this potential race win as well here. Here comes Vess here and Sickers Muck then once again into turn 1. And I think Sickers Muck then went onto the grass, and that could open the door for Vintage potentially as we go through the centre S's once again then for the Red Bull and the Aston Martin respectively. In towards turn 4 we go. Vintage has got a great drive then through turn 3. He's side by side, but he breaks early then, and Sickers Muck holds on to P10. P10, yes, he does. Holds on to P10 for the time being. Then as Sirius Rushman is back into the pit, he's onto a set of soft compound tyres and back out and away he goes. Could be a fastest lap point coming his way in at the end of this Grand Prix. We'll wait and see. But so far so good. Then out in front, the gap starting to extend slightly. Then, but they're still in the range in the top 3. 1.5 seconds the gap between the top 3 and the B-Rabbit, and B-Rabbit is putting on a charge here in the other Alfa Romeo. He is really trying to gain on those on the top 3 as quickly as possible. Then he's dropped the likes of Mercedes of Kiki, I think, just about, then out of DRS range here, which is going to be bad news for Kiki then, but good news then for B-Rabbit, of course. But he is going to be trying to get himself into the fight then for this podium place potentially as well. The penalties might come back to bite him. We will wait and see. Lap 63 has commenced here. Here comes Gamer then onto the back straight then. The ERS of course available, then here he comes then on the attack then of Lucas Percy. The ERS light flashing away then for the Alpha Tauri as we go into turn 4. And that is showing that he's not got much electrical energy to play with then, to use as a defensive or an overtaking mechanism then as well. And there we go then. Serious Weapons got himself past Gordo. Then Gordo is struggling now on those hard compound tyres, and he's done 53 laps on them now, so no surprise there. So that is that then for Lucas Perez. We've got yellow flags. It's for an Alpine of Keulen, and he's done what Hungry Styles has done. Then he's got himself off the circuit in the middle of the circuit, completely right in the middle of the circuit, down the hill on the grass. Then at turn 7, I think that is. But he's got himself back underway once again. Then unfortunately for Keulen, it is not been a good season for the Alpine driver, but he's done a good job so far of soldering on out here. Here comes Gamer then on the attack. Then can he get himself a move then for P1 into turn 1? Not quite. Then he stays behind. So again, I think the tactic's starting to unfold then. Or refold once again then for the likes of Gamer and Lucas Percy. Then we saw that Lucas Percy was just staying behind the Williams car then into turns 1 and 4 previously, but now he's ahead. Then he has to Gamer is doing the same thing back to him, I think. Equaz then, of course, he needs to be in P2. P3 in this situation is not where you want to be then, because you can't make any moves then ahead, and you can't really get through the second place driver, as Sirius Rushman does set the fastest lap of the race then onto lap 64 for the Ferrari driver. Good stuff indeed then. Very nice time indeed as well. Completely missed it, but I'm sure we'll look at it at the end of the race. Right, the day poll is out then, of course. We are racing here tonight then for Dr. Truebox then, who has sadly taken his own life at the age of 19 then, after battling with mental health issues. And so of course if you need any support then for anything like that, please just reach out to anybody in your life really, any friends, any family, and anybody in the ALR community. Of course, we are a racing community first and foremost then. So if you ever need support or anything like that, please get in contact. We've got some. I thought we were going to have contact there as well then, as Equaz then up into P2, but not quite. Then he stays behind now, and I think Equaz then heeding the warning then, because he now has to try and get himself past Gamer then to be able to battle Lucas Percy then for the race lead then in the final couple of laps, of course, in this Grand Prix. Out in the background, and B-Rabbit has caught up to the battling pack here. He's now dropped the Mercedes completely, and he's got himself into the top 4 now, into this fight then for the race lead. Sickers Muck then got himself past Coop. No, Coop, Sickers Muck's on for a spin there, that's why. He got himself spun around then, and unfortunately we didn't see what happened then. He's lost out then to a lot of drivers, then Cooper's got himself past Vessia, has he? Side by side then between the McLaren and the Williams then, and Vessia is ahead. Just about then, of course, Coop on the medium compound tyres into the end of the race, hoping that potentially the soft compound starts to drop off, I think, in the next laps or so. We'll wait to see then. So Dr. Truebox then driver of the day, then Lucas Percy, of course, who is, of course, tributing. He is, of course, putting on the tribute here for Dr. Truebox. Close friend then of Dr. Truebox is Lucas Percy as well. Right then, on to lap 66 then. We've got 5 remaining at the end of this one, 6 to go. And let's see what's going to change in the top order then. The top 4 now all within half a second of each other as we go through into turn 3. And look at that then, there's the top 4 then. There was weaving going on then between the Alfa Romeos. I think one Alfa Romeo, then it was Equas, I think. But I'm not quite sure what that was communicating though, we can't quite tell. But there we are then, out in front then, the top 4 then are soldiering on in the distance, and Kiki has got himself a gap then over his teammate of Jinnah then. Kamara Racer is doing a good job then in P7, then Vessia then is down in P8, and of course he's not got any penalties as well then, so that could get himself back up the order then, but he's fighting with Coop then into turn 6 and 7. And Coop going to go down the inside, not quite, I thought we thought better of it then, but it was close indeed. Right then, lap 66 then, we're getting through the race quite quickly indeed. That has been a fantastic race so far, for me anyway. And really put it on the show then, to of course tribute then the later Dr. Truebox, who of course was a racer at ALR, and of course is unfortunately no longer with us. Our thoughts go out to of course his friends, his family, and of course the racers that are putting on this show for him as well. The black helmets then as well as a tribute, and of course the tribute that we had earlier on in the session as well then for him as well, from Brooksy and from Lucas Percy in qualifying. No, fantastic stuff indeed. Then this race has definitely been one to put on a fantastic name then for the league as well. Then for the drivers who put on a show. Then Vessia then up into P8, then get himself past. Serious Russian got himself past Keulen. Has he? No, he hasn't. Then there's contact between the two of them, but Serious Russian there on the outside has got the position. I think Keulen went a bit too deep then into that turn 1, and has got Gamer then all over the backfield as B-Rabbit then is still in the contention as well. Then here he comes then into the horseshoes and sector 2. Too many S's going on in this one, but there is your penalty situation then. Of course B-Rabbit then will not be able to gain then on the 3 drivers ahead of him with the penalties that situation as it stands, with Kiki as well, as Kamara Race has picked up a 3-second penalty as well, and unfortunately Kamara, that's going to be very costly indeed. That might demote him out of the top 10 as it stands as well. Then we'll have to wait and see then. Of course there's penalties for the drivers behind him as well, but that could be costly at the end of this one. So far so good then out here as we cross the line to start off lap 68 then of 71, and Coop and Vessia then carrying on their battle. Then Coop now up into P8, or back up into P8 I should say. Then he is going to have to be hoping that those soft compound tyres start to fall off now, as some of them have done about 17 laps or so. Then that could be in the range then potentially of the soft compound tyres starting to fall off here, which could be good then for the medium shod Coop then, that is. Vessia then has lost out, so Coop is then, speaking of Coop, then has lost out to Vessia then down towards turn 4, and now into turn 5 as well. Then they're going to go side by side, are they? In turn 6 there's going to be close indeed, but then Vessia does take the place, then does keep the place into turn 7 as well then. Great stuff indeed then. So like I said, we were putting on a fantastic show then for Dr. Truebox then as well, in tribute to the late ALR driver as well. So thank you very much for everybody who's put in their support then. Of course, who's put in the comment section who's done anything then to reach out then for anybody or to anybody who might be just suffering with some sort of mental health issues. And of course that is very indeed. One message then could help save somebody's life, and we never know what's happening. Of course, as Gamer's had an issue, and I think this is going to be opening the door then for Ekbaz potentially down towards turn 4. Can he get the move though is the question, as we go into lap 69. Then 2 laps to make at the end of this one. Then Gamer's got himself back in contention though. And Ekbaz then couldn't make the move then for the race, for that position, sorry, for P2. And now Lucas Percy then is got a 7-second gap then to the Williams car of the Gamer then, who's sliding through turn 7 as well now. This is going to be costly indeed, and Gamer is struggling to try and keep up now with Lucas Percy then, and this could open the door then for Ekbaz then into P2 potentially as well. Then if Lucas Percy can escape that DRS window, that would be fantastic indeed then on the final couple of laps then for Lucas Percy, as we go through into sector 3 now. Then as we go down the hill, then Gamer of course is going to be very close indeed, I think, to that 1 second window. He's going to go deep on the brakes and into sector 3. Then can he keep it all together then through sector 3 up the hill? He's just about to stay within that 1 second window as well. Then that is incredible stuff indeed then, as Gamer there's the rear wing opening up then for the Williams car, then getting himself back in contention and back in the fight. Then as we go on to lap 70 of 71, this is the penultimate lap of the season. not just the penultimate lap of the race now as well. And fantastic stuff indeed. Then the 15 drivers that are still out there have done a fantastic job indeed as well. Then Gordo has done 60 laps now on the hard compound tyres. And yes, interesting stuff there for Gordo. But there we are then. So Lucas Percy then leads the way. Then he will lead the way, I think, onto the final lap of the season as well here. Will he be able to hold on to the race win as well? Then Vintage and Vessia. Then Vessia's up into P9, recovering up into P9. Then into the pit comes Sick as Luck. Then he's on to hopefully a set of new soft compound tyres, potentially going for the fastest lap in this race as well. Then here comes Lucas Percy. Then he's got a 6/10 of a second gap then to his rival of X Gamer then for the race lead. Then as we go through into sector 3, the gap is extending now to 7.5 tenths or so, but it's not enough then to get himself outside that 1 second DRS window. As here we go then sliding through the final couple of corners, and I think both the top two, as we go on to the final lap here of the race. And here comes Gamer. Then he's going to be on a charge, I think. Then he's Gamer. Then as we go across the line, then to start off lap 71. Then he's got the move then on the AlphaTauri, then up into P1. But Lucas Percy, I think, will look to fight back then down towards turn 4. Let's see what he does as we go through turns 2 and 3. Then here we come then for Lucas Percy, I should say. DRS enabled then as we go down towards turn 4. Here comes the AlphaTauri driver then into turn 4, and he can't quite make the position up. Then he stays P2 and almost losing the back end as well. Then as Lucas Percy, then as we fly through into the final lap of the season, the final lap of the Grand Prix here in Brazil, and up the hill then towards turn 7 and now towards turn 8 as well. Then almost into the back end of the Williams then as Lucas Percy is pushing. Then he's pushing for that race lead back again. He wants that race lead back again as well. Then I want him to get that race lead back again as well. Then I hope the game is listening to me, unfortunately. Then so hopefully we'll never know what will happen. Then we'll have to wait and see. Penalty for gaming then coming his way. But there we are then. So far so good out there as well. Then it's been a fantastic race and it's been a fantastic season as well. And credit to all the guys that who put on a show here for the 100% league then in this 15-round season as well. And here comes Lucas Percy then up to the line. It's going to be so close indeed. Then here he comes. Then he's going to win it then. And Lucas Percy is going to win the Brazilian Grand Prix. And what a victory indeed, and what it means for Lucas Percy as well indeed, and he needed that as well. And it's 58 thousandths of a second then to Gamer in P2, and I think Lucas Percy was leading up to that on the final 20 laps or so. It was fantastic indeed. Lucas Percy wins in Brazil, and we will hear from him, of course. We will hear his message as well from him in the interviews in just a few moments' time. But Lucas Percy then, he said he was going to do it on track then. He was going to win the race then for Dr. Truepox here tonight. He has won the race by 58 thousandths of a second then to Gamer as well then. Fantastic racing between the two of them. Gamer does get P2, his best result of the season as well on the final race. Equaz then P3. And I think he is confirmed as potentially P. I'm not quite sure actually. We'll have to confirm it after the race. Then Brooksy's left the session then. But what a race result indeed then for Lucas Percy. Then Equaz P3 rounds off the podium. Brabbit P4, sorry. Kiki P5. Then Gina P6. Vessia P7. Coopin P8. Then Hungry Stars P9 and Vintage P10. Rounding off a double points finish then for the Red Bull team in the final race of the season. And what a result then. Fantastic stuff indeed. I couldn't. I have to say, this is the only race of ALR history, I think, that I wanted Lucas Percy, wanted an ALR driver then to win the race hands down over every other driver on the grid. And that is Lucas Percy taking the victory here in Brazil. And yeah, fantastic stuff indeed. There is the AlphaTauri driver there on the top step of the podium, and what a result, what it means as well then to Lucas Percy. Fantastic from the AlphaTauri driver then to win here in Brazil. Gamer then in P2 then in the Williams then. Great result from Gamer as well then. Can't be said. They had a great battle then with Lucas Percy right up to the line. 58 thousandths of a second then on the final race of the season for Lucas Percy to take the victory then ahead of Gamer in the Williams then. And Equaz then P3 in this race as well then. There he is then on the podium places then. Great stuff indeed then. Gamer from P20 up into P2. A fantastic race from him as well then. B Rabbit then P4, Kiki P5, Jinner in P6, Vessia in P7, Coop in P8, Hungry Styles and Vintage then round off the top 10 for Red Bull. Great result from them. Kamara Racer P11. Unfortunately, those penalties did cost him by only a tenth of a second as well. Serious Rush from P12 then with the fastest at point as well for Ferrari. Kaidel P13, Sick as Muck P14, Gordo then 15th in the end after doing the mammoth stint and on the hard compound tyres. New Zealand Cam out of the race then RTB as well then P17. Moomin and Brooksy then round off the 20 drivers who finished or didn't finish this race in the end. But line of good stuff indeed. Unfortunately, we've got a bit of an echo coming through. So hopefully whoever that is can sort themselves out. But we will get on to the interviews, I think, very soon. There we go then. We'll get the interviews actually underway. I think we've got some drivers who've joined us. Let's have a look and see who it is. It's Lucas Percy then. We'll start off with the race winner then. I think we've got a message then. We want to hear from Lucas Percy anyway about what that means then in terms of a race win. Then can you describe what's just happened then from your point of view?
Not really. I'm pretty lost for words at this moment in time. I just want to say that race was in honour of Sam. Most people will know him as Dr. Truepox, but to me, he's one of my best mates. I just have no words at the moment. Still in shock, not really processed it at the moment, but I just want to say this race was in honour of him. And well deserved. And what a tribute it was, especially we saw the tribute at the beginning of the qualifying as well, which was fantastic from yourself and Brooksy. But to finish the race in that style as well. I know I don't think Game is going to join us after that, but you held it all together then, and you kept your composed to the line, and 58 thousandths of a second then to win the race, as you said you were going to do. You told me before we even started the lobby that you were going to win that race for Dr. Truepox tonight, and you rewarded him in fantastic style. Credit to you, mate. It was a fantastic race. Thank you. I didn't, to be honest, as soon as that safety car came out, I didn't think I was going to win the race. I had no confidence on the softs, so I was just looking behind me, really thinking, oh God, when are these guys going to overtake? But credit to Gamer, we kept it clean, and then just managed to squeeze past him on the line, and thankfully he did get the win. If I didn't get the win, I think I would have been pretty devastated, commanding pretty much 75% of that race, thinking you're going to finish 5 or 6 seconds ahead of Gamer like I was, and then obviously for the safety car to come out, it did kind of ruin things, but thankfully, like I said, managed to just squeeze past at the end and got the win.
And a fantastic result indeed for yourself. Potentially, I have to do the maths, but I couldn't do the maths. To be fair, didn't have the head on for the beginning of the lobby. But potentially, I think that makes it top 3 as well then for the final race of the season. Trophy coming your way for that too. But no, fantastic indeed then, of course. And like I said, I don't know if you've got any words that you want to give then to anybody who might be out there who is mental health issues, of what they can do to try and help themselves.
Just speak out, reach out to your loved ones, reach out to anyone really, because you can be gone in a flick of a switch, and it affects loads of people around you, not just yourself. It can affect loads of other people. So just speak out, get in touch with someone, even if it's your parents, your mates, someone you work with, just anyone. Just get in touch. Reach out, the world is a good place at the end of the day, so if you do want to talk, people will be there for you, and people will try and help.
Fantastic stuff indeed, and reiterating what we've been saying in the commentary as well, most of this race as well. If you do need to reach out, there's always somebody out there as well. So fantastic from Lucas Percy, your race winner then for the final race of the 100% season this season as well. The final race in Brazil, and he's got himself a fantastic victory as well. Then indeed, congratulations to you, sir. Well deserved, and of course, Dr. Truepox will be very proud of you as well.
Thank you.
We've got, I think, P2 Gamer then. Gamer, you joined us in the end. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
He is here. Good stuff indeed. You had a fantastic race in the end. Then we saw you come up the order then in the first stint. Then before lap 11, the safety car came out, and you're already up into the points pen position. And did you have a flying start, or were you just trying to take it easy?
Yeah, it was a good race, but first of all, today wasn't about racing. I think, yeah, we all know why. So yeah, to everyone who was close to him, stay strong. Also to you, Lucas. Yeah, it was a good race, but yeah, it's difficult to enjoy a podium when something happens like this.
Well, you did a good race yourself. Then, of course, the
The
circumstances
circumstances surrounding it
are not good,
are
obviously.
not good,
But
obviously. But
you just had to
race
what you could and raced
what you
your
could
race,
and
and you
raced
did a
your race, and you
fantastic
did a
job. Then
fantastic job.
after
Then after
starting from the back of the
starting
grid,
from
then
the
did
back
you
of the
have an
grid, then
issue
did
in
you have an issue
qualifying,
in
or
qualifying, or
did it just
not
let you take part?
Well, I had an issue, yeah, because it was saying migrating host the whole time. I was getting that message like every 5 seconds. So I wanted to leave, join back, but I didn't know if you leave quali, you retire immediately. I didn't put a lap yet,
You should
so
have,
yeah,
but
that's why I
for some
started
reason,
at the
Co-Master
back.
said that was enough for you. But it didn't. It almost didn't matter in this race, to be fair, because you did a great job then from the back of the field. But yeah, credit to yourself as well. Then one of your best races then in this season in all divisions. So yeah, you have to do that in gold in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it was a really good race. I think it might be my best race on this game. Starting at the back of the grid, going already to PL11, I think, at the end of the first lap. So it was pretty amazing. Just try to keep it clean and try to gain positions by others making mistakes, which happened a lot in the first lap. So that was pretty ideal for me. And yeah, I think I had some pretty good pace as well. And yeah, I was lucky at safety car at the end to be able to fight for the win. Otherwise, Lucas would have got it by 6, 7, 8, maybe more seconds because he was way more faster. And to be fair, I expected him to drive away of me after safety car as well, but for some reason it didn't happen.
Congratulations then to Game and then P2 in this race as well.
Thank you.
And a fantastic fight for the race win as well throughout that race. Equaz in P3 then. You didn't have a quiet race in the end. Then we usually see you have a quiet race and then jump up the order then in the final stages. Then, but you were battling then for the race lead for the majority of that one. And did you think you had the race win on the cards potentially at some stages?
Hi there. Just going on from Lucas and Gamer there. This race was for Dr. Truepox there. Yeah. Yeah, we all gave a good race. Everyone was very clean, and that was the most important thing, definitely.
Great stuff indeed, and what a message as well then from yourself as well after that fantastic race. Obviously, 71 laps. It's been a mammoth race, but straight away, obviously thinking about the more important things as well. But no, credit to you as well. You had a good race overall, and yeah, do you think? I'm not quite sure. As I said, I didn't do maths, but I'm not sure where P3 in the race puts you in the constructors. In the driver's standings. And Lucas Percy winning the race as well. But I think you still clinched the top three at least. Then, so hopefully I'll be able to come and see you again with another trophy. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
not yourself.
we'll have to check that out because I know it was very close with Lucas. We'd have to check that one out. But whether it was between me or Lucas, yeah, the top two definitely deserved it as well. Going to Kiki in the final stints of the season, he just come on completely on fire. Well deserved for P2, and Gordo was Mr. Consistent throughout the whole season. Well deserved for him as well. So yeah, if it goes to me or Lucas, I'm happy either way.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think I'm just trying to do the maths here, but I think you have got that P3 confirmed as well. Then yes, that is good stuff indeed. Brilliant stuff. Well, congratulations then to Equaz, and congratulations to all the drivers then who have put on a show then for the 100% League this season. It has been absolutely brilliant stuff indeed, and of course it is a sad note to end it on really, but the drivers here tonight then of course Lucas Percy and Brooksy then put on a fantastic tribute to Dr. Truepox then, and he will be remembered, of course, from ALR's view, of course, as a fantastic driver then, and we will miss him, of course. But thank you very much for everybody who's put in a fantastic effort here tonight. Of course, supporting the friends and family of Dr. Truepox, as well as Lucas Percy and Brooksy. So thank you very much to everybody who has joined us, and we will of course see you. We'll have a break week now, but we'll see you for more ALR action in a week and a half's time or so. But thanks very much for joining us, everybody, and we will speak soon.